What's up, everyone? If you're on, just give me a moment. Get your comments pulled up so we can wrap. We're just getting it ready for YouTube. We're just getting everything straight. So just hang tight. Hope everyone is well. Welcome in as you guys come in. I'll be calling you guys' names out soon, as soon as I see the comments come up. So just be patient with me. I hope everybody is well. So we got quite a few watching still coming on. I tell you guys, if you guys are on and watching, please go ahead and give me a like and click share, man. Share this video with someone else. Today's just going to be a live Q&A. You guys will be able to ask your questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. If I can't get an answer for you, I'll look into it. Hello, everyone. All right. Swag. Oh, wow. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. See, you still placing that. Swag, tell us more about that. You said you told your mom about your belief system. Tell us more about that, brother. What's up, Michael? Micaiah. Let's see here. What's up, Colin? Let's see here. Oh, if you pronounce that Colonel, I don't know. Laquita, how you doing? See here, peace. Was I ever a Hebrew? Britton Hall. Actually, man, I would have been what they would consider a Hebrew. That's what I would have recently left. So that's why, those brothers, whenever they come after me, they try to, I guess, give me their information. They don't understand. I spent like the last 6 or 5 of the years that I was in religion believing in their type of belief system. So I didn't call it a Hebrew Israelite. I called it I didn't give it a name, but yeah, I definitely practice what they practice, believe what they believe. Not yet, Rashad. We're gonna be trying to accept some calls later. We're doing it a different way now, so I'll be able to know for sure if we can take calls a little bit later. But for now, we're definitely gonna be reading those comments. What's up, Anthony Baker? Unique, what's going on? Peace. Derek, what's going on? Let's see, KLKG. I just can't KJ. I can't explain. I can't say it. So, but peace. Power to achieve. What's up, Gary? What's going on? Holistic Shape. What's going on? Falon 65. What's up? Infinite Waters. Peace. Infinite Waters diving deep. That's my guy Ralph. He goes in. I need a catch. I need a slogan like that, guys. Me and Josh been trying to work on one. I can't figure this thing out, so I just say, hey y'all, and we just get it popping. She took it better than expected. Okay, let me see here. See here, you said she took it better than expected, but she was mad going to get my granddad and uncle on me. Well, I mean, that's typically what they do when they can't respond to you and give you the help you need or the answers that they think you need. They want to go get someone else who pretty much helped to teach them or that they feel know more than them. There's no worries there, man, believe me. When it comes to a believer challenging a person who doesn't subscribe to the belief, it's just no way. There's just no way to convey to them that they should believe again once they understand the literature is hogwash. But they can use fear. They will quote scriptures at you to try to scare you back to sleep, and that's where you got to put your foot down. Just keep that in mind. You can say it nicely. Just keep reiterating you do not believe in the book. No matter how many scriptures they quote, we have not yet solidified that this is the word of God. So by quoting a scripture, you're moving from the standpoint that this is solidified. It's not verified. So you can't quote a scripture until we understand that God really spoke this information to people. Otherwise, anything that you say is irrelevant. I can quote Spider-Man all I want. It's not going to make Spider-Man true. If I want to prove Spider-Man to be real, I cannot use the literature. That's the rules to the game. So just make that known. Thank you very much for the donation. See here. Thank you, Rolling Thunder, for the donation. Hey guys, keep this in mind too. Let's see, Josh, are we on Facebook yet? All right, fantastic. All right, let me get that shared around. Again, guys, if you don't mind, if you are on Facebook, please share this video. Okay, please share this video. We want as many people as we can in the room tonight because we're gonna be having live Q&A. I'm gonna say that again. I think I may have went out, but we're gonna be having many. We want to have many people as we can in the room tonight, as we're doing live Q&A. So we're gonna be talking about some things, how we feel since we left religion, things that we go through since we left religion, some of the things that we struggle with, things of that nature. So there's not gonna be any, I guess, bad questions. We're gonna try our best to answer as many. Guys, let's keep this. Let's keep this thing friendly. We want people to understand that if they do still, believe in literature, they can come onto this podcast and be able to dialogue with us and not be made fun of. When I look back over some of the podcasts, I just can't help but see some of you guys, laugh, and we bring other people on with different perspectives. We don't want to laugh at them guys. We want to keep this about building and trying to free people, right? Even sometimes, and here's the thing, you guys aren't biased. I give you that, because even if it's somebody who does agree, if you guys find them boring or don't like the way they deliver the information, you guys will put like yawn faces up and stuff like that. And I mean, you got to understand, if people call into the show, they don't need to see that. That's very discouraging. So let's try to encourage each other. And if somebody's on, if you feel like their pitch is a little bit slow or a little bit, boring or whatever, if you will, just try to listen for the information. We're adults. We don't need it. We don't need nobody to tap dance for us, right? We just want to hear the information and then cipher through that information and go from there. So let's try to definitely use some respect when we're talking to each other and dealing with each other, guys. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable whenever they're dialoguing. So if y'all can do that for me, please. Let's see here. What percentage of preachers are actually atheists and are doing it for the money? I don't know the percentage, but I can actually tell you that that's a real thing. People, I mean, honestly, a lot of people wouldn't be able to do what they were doing in the way that they're doing if they did believe in the literature. They would be tormented by their own deeds, believing that a God was going to judge them. So if you're going to be the best type of pastor, you probably don't need to believe in your literature. If the goal, of course, is to manipulate people and take their money. See, people lie, numbers don't. I don't believe in people. I'm glad you're going to be able to take calls because I can't read it right. Sometimes the technology. I feel you. I feel you. Is this year to be? Yes, sir. I mean, honestly, I mean, why not? You see what I'm saying? Now, because I don't know the Quran that well, I will respond back to him with, how would you feel if I started quoting the Quran to you right now? I mean, but if you guys know the Quran, and if you want to look up some scriptures and learn them, I mean, preferably the hell ones. When people threaten you to hell for not believing in their Jesus and he's the way, the truth, and the light, quote the Quran where it says Jesus is just a prophet. I mean, if you want to learn those scriptures, because that's really the perfect way to counteract it. They don't believe in your Quran. And the point isn't to argue validity. The point is to show them that, how do you feel when I quote this Quranic literature at you? You don't care, do you? Okay, I could care even less about the literature that you're quoting, and it's that simple. That's actually a great question, Josh. I appreciate that. Power to achieve says, I'm sure there are preachers who talk about you in their pulpit. This is a fact, especially the first few months of my of you guys realizing who I was after that video went viral. So about a year ago, in December, January. There were preachers telling their congregation, don't listen to me. Telling them to, don't listen, you'll catch a demon. So, absolutely, man. Why do you think reasonable, smart people gravitate towards stupid ideas? Reasonable, smart people gravitate towards ideas that we call stupid because they don't think about them. The brain, when it shuts down for whatever reason that benefits. You can have a very smart person who is married to someone who's cheating on them. Right? And they will not believe that person's cheating. They will not. They can have a person who hits them and they actually believe that man when he says, I love you and I only do this for your own good. And a brilliant mind can be put in a box if it's allowed. It's trauma. It's one of those things where we feel this need to hold on to the truth. There has to be a need there. I don't think you can convince someone that the sky's purple unless they need to believe it. You see what I'm saying? So when you teach somebody religion, there becomes a need because religion caters to your needs. If you're scared of death, religion gives you a place that you go when you die. If you lost someone, religion tells you that you'll see them again, so forth and so on. So when you're asking people to consider logical ideas, the reason they get angry is because if you think logically, they don't have their ideas. It's unfair to them. This is why they get mad and be like, but God works in mysterious ways. So, but never think that a person is right about all of their perspectives because they are smart. Trust me, it doesn't work that way. Every idea that's presented to you needs to be challenged. Okay, let's see. Why do you think a grown black man goes to church? It's simple. A grown child goes to church. It's learned behavior. You can put a elephant on a stump, and that elephant, as a child or as a baby elephant, won't be able to pull that stump, pull that stick out of the ground. But an adult elephant won't even try. Won't even try. Now it can break the stick without even knowing it, right? But it doesn't try for simple fact it's used to being there. So in its mind, it feels like this is the way. It's not so much that it feels that it can't break it. It feels that it doesn't need to break it. Why? My owner's right here. I need to be here when he gets back. He feeds me. He gives me everything I need, so to speak. And who am I to go out here in the wild and live on my own? I never lived in the wild. I've never had responsibility to take care of myself. This is why grown men go to church. They've never had responsibility to take care of it. We all went through it. We all left church, or most of us left church, wondering what the heck do we do. So, yep. Let's see here. What's good, family? Happy anniversary. Yeah, let's call this an anniversary, guys. I meant to say that. Let's call this an anniversary. So congratulations to all of you guys for helping keep me going this long. For you guys that was in here in the beginning, we only have this podcast because of you. Josh's idea, Kevin, you want to help people. Why not open up a podcast or start a podcast so you can weekly talk with people and, give them ideas and, trade ideas. And I was like, man, I don't have the equipment. Well, you should raise the money. Man, these people going to think I'm all about money. Bruh, let me put the thing up. I'll get the equipment. We're going to go from there. I didn't want to do it. Took me a while to come around, and finally I did. In about 2 weeks time, maybe 3 weeks time. Is that right, Josh? About 2 or 3 weeks before we had that GoFundMe going, before we was ready to buy the equipment. About 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So you guys actually gave the money, as you saw, it was something that was needed, and we've been rocking ever since. So I just appreciate you guys for being here this long and donating and doing the things you can do to help me financially keep going. As you guys know, I don't work. I'm here for you guys. Losing my job made it hard for me to even get work, being famous now, right? So, or even standing against what the whole, what the majority of the world believes, it made it extremely difficult for me, being attacked from all angles. But a lot of you guys stood right by my side, and you're still here. So I want to say thank you guys for that. So let's see here. If we can get some congratulations, let's see if somebody can put like some firecrackers or some like clapping hands or something up. Make sure we're getting some congratulations. That way it can at least slow the chat down too, and I can get back to you guys' questions. While we're doing that, I want you guys to know that tonight, based on the donations, we're going to go through the people that donated. Whether you donate $1 or whatever, we're going to give you guys a shirt. So we're going to do a drawing, okay, at the end. And we're going to let you guys know who wins this shirt. And I'll be mailing it to you guys tomorrow. So it'll be shipped to you guys tomorrow. It'll be the Evolution shirt. Thank you, CD. Absolutely. Right. There we go. We're seeing some hand claps coming up now. I don't know how far ahead I am than y'all guys. That's why I wanted to slow it down some, at least to see where we were. See here. Mr. Glasses, just hang tight. We'll be giving that number out shortly, if we can do that. Josh, just let me know if we're looking good to be able to do some callings a little later. Let's see here. I'm just looking at the congratulations coming up. I appreciate that. Do I do any debates? I do not debate, just for the simple fact of people walk away still believing in their ideas. I really don't see the point in it. Thank you very much, Marcus Johnson, for the donation. You will be entered to win that free Be the Evolution shirt. Make sure you guys, I will let you guys know who won it, and from there you guys can give me your size and all. Begging for Change says, what's up, Kevin and Josh? What's up, Begging for Change? Y'all know that's Rick. Y'all saw Rick on last week, and he gave you guys his YouTube handle, and that was Begging for Change. Hey, something about that, man. I think that word change is really awesome, Ricky. My actual rap name was going to be changed. Like to my real name. Is the kingdom of God a woman's womb? No. If you're talking about just a way to understand it, conceptualize the kingdom of God, then the kingdom of God would be your brain. or your third eye, which is the idea of it. So this is, I'm only talking about the idea. God dwells in temples not made with hands. So the idea of where God was, it was in the temple, in the here. So the temples are here, and then of course the third eye is in the middle of your head, so to speak. So that was the temple of God. The woman's womb, or the yoni, is more like the portal to this world, so to speak, within the realm of, again, conceptualizing the belief at that time. That's what the woman's womb was, like the realm to this world, not the kingdom of God, though. So just keep in mind, coming through the woman's womb was like, you get your fleshly body. This is what you get. You get her body, right? You borrow your DNA from her. You get her body, but your spiritual kingdom, or whatever, so to speak, was in your brain. Okay, we know this today. This is where our thoughts exist. See here. I appreciate that, Max B. I don't know what to do about that, brother. That's hilarious. Max B saying like my head got bigger. I don't know, man. Let's see here. Chuck the ball. What point was it? Man, don't feel stupid, man. Listen, I look at this. I look at it like this, bro. We come into this body. We come into this world completely no scars, right? And at the end, our scars will tell a story. It does. It's not that you stupid. That's the part of the journey you was on. So I mean, you could do that. You could feel stupid, and you could feel like, man, I'm really dumb for doing that. But you're not, man. You was just in that, and that's what you liked at that time. So honestly, you ain't even got to cover it up. If you show it, you can say, at this time in my life, this is what I believed in. You ever see like a package come? Remember back in the day, those packages would come and it'd have like big stickers all over it, and you could tell where it came from with all the stamps. And you just look at it and be like, wow, this, or a suitcase or whatever. You could tell somebody been to a lot of places because it's just got a lot of like stickers on it from each place that they've been. And it becomes somewhat of like a mystery, right? It's amazing. It's beautiful even, right? So look at yourself like that, man. Don't look at yourself like I should be ashamed of this or whatever. Nah, you was on your journey and you cannot be judged in terms of being stupid for where you are in your life. You know, that's what you was being taught at the time. So a lot of, okay. Okay. You said the video stopped, but like you mean like as in they can't hear me now or what? Okay. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Nubian. So yeah, if you guys could just look at yourselves like that, nobody's passing judgment, so certainly don't pass judgment on yourself. Let's see here. Rashad Green said, "Man, I didn't want to go to heaven. It was seemed forced. See, it sounded forced. I mean, we have to worship God all day, every day. Man, I used to think the same thing. Like, what do we do when we get to heaven? I mean, why would you get mansions? You get to go back to them every night. Why would you need a mansion in heaven? Big house? Like, really? Is it chandeliers? Like, nice carpeting? What is it? What's in there? What's the purpose? I mean, you know, I always thought that idea sounded crazy. Why would God want you to sit around and just worship Him all day? Like, who would like that? I certainly wouldn't like that. I wouldn't want my children sitting at my feet telling me how good I am. That would literally get on my nerves. And I'm only as good as they know. My father wasn't even there for me, and I thought this dude was a good daddy until I got old enough to understand how fathers supposed to treat their children. I had no example. I didn't witness a man being there for his children, so I didn't know my father wasn't a good father. So it's the same way. God tells you that He's good, but yet He'll kill you if you don't do what He wants. He'll tell you He's all loving, but yet He'll burn you if you don't do what He wants. And if you somehow can make it to heaven, you'll praise Him all day. You know, but for what? What reason would you praise Him? You know, it's one of those things where you're right. It is forced. It's a way of thought, and you know we're held down by that. So absolutely. Let's see here. I see you guys saying it's a blank screen. We're working on that, guys. I can still read your comments though, so if you can hear me, just bear with me. We get it, guys. There's a black screen. Just hang tight. We're gonna get it fixed. Tim Thomas said they praise Him out of fear. This is true. Thank you, Greg. We see it. Thank you, Brian. I hear you, fam. Brown said, I need that shirt. Burn forever. Might live to be 100, but burn forever. What? Absolutely. And really, when you think about it, you know, what reason is there that you would burn me forever? Like how? Like when you think about a punishment, you're supposed to learn a lesson from it, right? So you get whatever amount of years that you allotted on earth. Some people live to be a short age, right? Some people live to get what we call old. But compared to eternity, that's but a speck of sand in the beach, right? So you mean to tell me you're gonna burn me for eternity for something that I did over the course of my really small lifespan, even if you live to be 1,000 years old? When you compare that to forever, that's not even a speck in eternity. Like you really need to think about what eternity is. It never ends. So 1 billion years is not even comparison to eternity. Eternity never ends. Why would you burn me forever? We back? Okay, so we still everywhere we were? I don't need to reshare anything or anything? Ah, fantastic. Oh, okay. All right. Someone says, oh, who, me? Or someone else? No, I didn't say anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're the one does. Let's see here. Cowboys face says, Kevin, are you a Dallas Cowboys fan? You've helped me a lot. I guess you could call me a Dallas Cowboys fan. I became a Dallas Cowboys fan because my always heard that my daddy was a Cowboys fan, and by the time I was old enough to realize that I don't have to like his team, I was a Cowboys fan. I don't really have a real reason to like them. They let me down every year, but I don't really watch football like I used to. I used to be into it, know every player's name and all that stuff. I just don't even really watch it as much anymore. But I guess I still want them to win, so still a fan. Come on, guys, give me some real questions. I put on Facebook yesterday that last night was one of the first nights that I really experienced like that loneliness or that depression. Man, it was like rough, and I saw a lot of people were saying that they felt the same way, didn't know how to talk about it. So just wanted to ask you guys how y'all felt, if y'all have dealt with that. What y'all did to try to get through it, things of that nature. I'm typically a loner anyway from my life being so rough. So thank you very much, Earl. Really needed that. Thank you very much. Uh, I was a loner, being that I came up without really a lot of people around me. So I don't really need people around me. I don't date like that because my finances not where I want them to be. Especially with this last year, took a lot out of me. I try to tell people that if they really understood what losing your job just all of a sudden like that would do to a person with 3 children, man, it really is rough. So I'm the type of person, I don't like to hurt feelings, so I'm not gonna string you along and date you if I can't treat you like a person should. I can't take you, I can't do nice things for you, stuff like that. I felt like it's just me time. I need to build me, fix my life before I pursue any type of relationship. But I talked about it a little bit this morning, but on my page. But I think now it's came back to haunt me a little bit, pushing so many people further away just to kind of put my own world back together. No male friends, no female friends. So it's like I'm in a place where nobody even close to me to even be able to reach out to and hang out with. So just wanted to see how you guys felt. Since Christian will tell you that depression, mental illness, or in general the devil, and this absolutely. I had people telling me today that if you're depressed, why don't you just ask Jesus to come into your heart, as if Christians don't be depressed. And I just explained, like it was crazy, man. You need to just, if you would never be lonely if you got Jesus. I said, man, you really shouldn't oversell your beliefs like that. Like Christians every day be lonely, they be killing themselves, everything. Like you really shouldn't do that. And that's what they do. They'll oversell their beliefs just to get you to accept it. Like, if you're a Christian, you won't never be lonely. Then why the heck did we walk away from it? Like, come on, bro. If we were never lonely, like we would always, that would be proof that Jesus exists. That means that every other religion would suffer from depression and you walk around happy all day. That would actually mean something, but it doesn't. Every single religion suffers from the same emotional crap, die of the same diseases. Your God's not real. Just that it's just simple facts. When you look at it across the board logically, your God's not real. Your literary God does not exist. If he did, there would be like you would have a leg up on the competition. You don't. They peddle the same information the same way via book and missionaries. They're the same as every single religion. Ain't nobody gonna hear about it unless you teach them. It's just simple facts. And John, if you right, and John, if you can't specify that question, that's the reason is because you've never read the Bible nor cared to learn. Just as many people who say, well, what about prophecy in the Bible? So what Josh just said to you is exactly a way to respond. When they say, what about prophecy in the Bible? Say, which prophecy? And then see what they say. I guarantee they don't know. They're only regurgitating what they heard somebody else say. They don't know anything. I promise you. You'll see that too. Right. Right. Absolutely. I mean, he actually genuinely may not know. He might just be asking how to respond. That's what's like I say. He may say, man, actually, I don't know any prophecies. And most Christians really don't. They just ask that question. If you think it'd be a good idea to partner with the church and taking donations by building communities, I think it would be a good idea to partner with anybody willing to help the youth. Don't get me wrong, man. You're talking about different belief systems now that want to teach your children. That's the one thing I would have a problem with. But even in the atmosphere where religion is being taught, I could still rock with that because I would teach them critical thinking. I heard someone say, you could vaccinate your child. Vaccinate your child. Yeah, how we vaccinate our children so they don't catch diseases and things like that. You can vaccinate your child with critical thinking so that religion cannot take over their mind, so to speak. And don't take a whole lot of effort either. As long as your child really, here's the thing, we got this stuff because we had no other perspective offered to us. It was being taken to church, believing in whatever God they believed in, hearing this name, hearing these songs until it becomes a part of life. Nobody offered any perspective. So when you have a child who is offered perspective, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to choose religion because they're going to realize that you're going to need proof to be able to do that. So we weren't, presented with this information in a way that we could critically think at an early age. So we're getting that now, and that's why so many people are offended because they're not used to that. So, good question. Would you ever sit in the church just for the nah, I don't see the reason, Michael. Well, I gotta sit in there and hear that. I mean, honestly, I would just be my whole face would be like this the entire time, like from the beginning. From the beginning, as soon as they invite the pastor to walk up on stage, he ain't even said nothing yet. I'm already just like, I'm gonna be that way his whole message. Like my face gonna remain that way his whole entire message. I would be in the way. How can we change our communities to be better with this truth? Man, honestly, it's a community is a group of individuals, a collective group of individuals. So when you think community, don't think buildings and roads and things like, think people. And you can do that by simply presenting the information to them. The more we speak up, the more they'll hear. A lot of us are just afraid to speak, but the more of us that begin to speak without fear that we'll be put in a box or without fear that we'll be demonized, the more they will have to hear us. You got to think, man, a lot of people believe in what they believe in simply because they think everybody else does. That's why most people, when you bring to them, constructive criticism or concerning their beliefs, they'll say, well, then why everybody believe in it? As if everybody believe it, it's the truth. We all know that's not true, right? It doesn't mean if everybody believes it, it's still a lie if it's a lie. Believing something does not make it true. And the amount of people who believe in it over another amount also is not evidence of it being truth. It's evidence of their belief. But belief is not evidence of truth. So, see. Shondell said, I love music and gospel music was so dope to me. How did you replace those? Gospel music was my favorite thing when I was a worship music type of person, like your Kurt Cole, your Shekinah Glory. I love to tell God how great he was. Like nothing made me happier than just telling this dude how great he was. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean. Whenever I lost the belief, man, I just honestly felt like, why continue? I mean, most of my life I stayed away from other music anyway because I thought it was worldly, was taught to believe it was worldly anyway. So honestly, man, I just started listening to different music. I started listening to different music. I don't have any need to hear, music about a God I don't pray to. Even, although some of the songs are very beautiful, he didn't really exist, so there's no need. But I do understand how the need for those songs, or those songs, can kind of get burned into your brain. Because I mean, I might hear one like passing somebody's car, or walking by somebody's car, and I'd be like, I remember that jump. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah, Diggs the Swag King said, I just rather live in reality. That's really where I am. I would just rather live in this realm for a while. I spent a lot of my life in the realm of belief, and frankly, I didn't get anywhere with that. Yeah, it hit me like a ton of bricks to find out that my beliefs were not solidified by facts, and I don't want to do that again. It hurt, guys, and I know for a lot of you guys it hurt too. All right, so movie older African conscious teachers try. Well, again, Peter Davis says, why are they trying to add a while sub movie older African conscious teachers try to include Christianity and Jesus into spirituality? It becomes a part of it. Man, people trying to include Jesus into veganism, right? Just not eating meat, and people trying to make that about Jesus when the Bible clearly gives you instructions on what meats to eat. So um, it's just funny, man. So just keep in mind that you're dealing with people's minds who have yet to let go of some things, but they are learning some things. So you know how it works, man. The same way we learn religion, we went from being, bona fide, Christians to not being so judgmental because you realize you ain't right about everything to the point you finally fall away. So I think that's kind of how it happens too, especially with a teacher. You teach what you learn, and you also continue to teach what you haven't unlearned. So I think that's where the mixture comes in. I don't think people are saying, I'm gonna merge this with consciousness just to keep people believing in Christianity. Someone says it's okay. See, Southern Boss Lady says that it's called religious trauma syndrome, RTS. There's a website, but it would not let you send. Okay, I got you. We actually did a show talking about the actual medical term, I guess, to use on a person when they cognitively suffer from belief, when they believe that people talk to them from outside of them and think they hear their voices, whether it's religion or an imaginary friend. We had talked about that on one of our shows, that is a real thing. So I appreciate you for putting that. Diggs the Swag said, when I found out it was a joke, I felt betrayed. I felt like somebody stabbed me in the back. That's exactly how you feel, man. I mean, and honestly, that's why people get so angry with us when we try to show their beliefs to them. They don't want that to happen to them. They try to defend so much what they believe. Tony says that the concept of afterlife got religious folk confused, and they can't live in the now. That's true. They more worried about what'll happen when they die, versus like tomorrow, or even today. And we can't do that. The inevitable will come, right? So all we can do is worry about what's in front of us now and tackle that. The mind is powerful, so the mind can kind of like time travel. I call it time travel. For anybody who might watch this video and want to click on it, say Kevin believes in time travel, please share the part where I'm about to explain right now. You can think about the future. You can literally be in the future in your mind. You can see where you want to be. You can live in the past. You can harbor on things in the past. You can focus on the past, things that you can literally do nothing about now, but yet can really exist in your mind. You, however, are in the now. And so your mind can be in either one of these places. What we're trying to do now is take our minds. When you were a Christian, it was in the future, believing that God one day is going to come crack the sky, or when you die, you'll go be in heaven with Jesus. When you walk away from religion, a lot of it is due to studying history. So it's hard not to have your focus fixed on history. Thank you very much, Mind Free. So you can become so focused on the past that you don't focus on the present. What life is about balance. So what we're trying to talk about what we're trying to do is live in the now. You can't be spending your life focused on something that's way, like it's just not productive, right? So that's what we spend most of our life doing. Again, guys, this goes to your brain being set up, being programmed to think a certain way. So it's not your fault you think this way, but you kind of adopted it through your belief system. Let's see here. See what Miss Glasses says. We love we think about it, religion comes from the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church practice of men celibacy. Uh-huh. I mean, you could be onto something there. I mean, a lot of times with you telling men that they can't sleep with nobody or have sex, they may lash out and do certain things, but let's be honest, some of the acts that these priests do, you shouldn't have. If no women existed in the world, you shouldn't be touching children. You know, there should be some type of morale to you. Like, you know, take every woman off this earth. I ain't gonna touch a little boy. I mean, you know what I mean? So you have to understand that they can use whatever excuses they want to use, but man, some of the evil stuff that these dudes do, man, you know, ain't no excuse for it. There's no excuse. You have to believe in reincarnation if you believe in God, any literary God. You do have to believe in reincarnation. And if you tell them if you tell them about reincarnation, most believers, Christians, I would say, because I know Christians more, I don't want to say anything inaccurate, but they wouldn't believe in reincarnation. What is reincarnation? But they believe they go to heaven. If your body is here and you go to heaven, but your body is right here in the dirt, we know your body's here. You can dig up these graves, it'll still be right there. How do you get to heaven unless you reincarnate, unless you incarnate again somewhere else? That's how you get there. So you do believe in incarnation, even if you're a Christian. If you believe your soul goes somewhere else, you believe that it has to reincarnate to get there. So absolutely. Um, absolutely. Got to believe in zombies too, because the dead in Christ arise, right? And you see all these. Jesus was a zombie for what, about 40 days he walked the earth before he flew into heaven with holes in his hand and scars on his forehead. I mean, really. Thank you very much, Highest Nikki. See, Suda Jah said, much respect, son of a preacher, and ever since I was young, I doubted the existence of God. It messed with my head for years. And it can do that, man, because you don't have anybody to bounce your thoughts off of. You're just going to sit there and ponder on it, and who you going to talk to about it? So all you can do is kind of self-reflect. Especially you got everybody on the outside telling you how you should think. Someone says, who do you pray to now? Or did you let it go as a whole? I let it go as a whole. Who would I pray to? If there, now a lot of people walk away from religion and say, well, you know what, we hear. So that must mean, us here is evidence to the fact that there is something higher. I don't argue with that kind of stuff, as long as you're not telling me I'm going to hell. My thing is, if there is something that created you and it is all-knowing, why would it need you to pray? Literally, why? Why would it need you to pray? If you were to pray, does it hear you? Does it respond to your prayers? At the end of the day, look at the world. So whatever's out there doesn't work the way we've been taught to believe that it works. If there is some type of energy out there that's responsible for this consciously, it doesn't work how we was taught that God works anyway. So the God we were taught about was someone you would pray to, talk to, have a relationship with. Okay. What people do is when they lose the religion, they still keep the attributes of the concept of God that they had. Talks to you, demands a relationship, watches you, cares for you, got your back, is looking out for you, protecting you. All of these type of things, we just take all the attributes from it and apply it to the universe. We don't got a name for it. We just give it to somebody because we don't want to lose that. So no, man, praying went out right along with it. I actually saw no need. I saw no use for it. Now I know some people still do pray. If prayer works, it works for the prayer. It helps the prayer to feel better. But praying for someone does not yield any effect unless that person can hear you and get excited about what you're saying. If prayer did work, honestly, there wouldn't be starving children in the world. So many people pray about that. So let's just keep that in mind. The first step is you. I think if we all change individually, then the world would be changed. The majority of the problems we have with this world is everybody's not on one accord. You have the people who can see the world for what it is, but we're very small in number. So a lot of times what we do is we're trying to focus on others to bring them in with it, not realizing that we're not putting into action what we have even learned. We've learned that Jesus wasn't real. We've learned that how the world works, but we have yet to go out and act on it and be the change that we want to see. True, like we hear a lot of people talk about being woke and being conscious, and many people say, I don't even want to be called those terms because so many other people who get called those terms like do things that you don't agree with, or even believe and say things that you don't agree with. So we don't like to be, grouped with woke and conscious. I'm in that same boat, simply for that same reason, to be honest with you. So we try to come up with different names or something like that. But the main goal is, putting into action what you're learning. If we put into action what we learn daily, the world would automatically be a better place. Unfortunately, you have a lot of people with a lot of understanding, but they don't put any of it into the world, into the universe, literally. So, for sake, just so you guys understand how the Bible talks about asking and you shall receive. This was not talking about asking a person that was up in the sky. Remember the thought was as above, so below. So when you ask someone for something, it's not speaking into the sky, will you give me? It was planting a seed. So when you ask God, the person who provides to you for something, you sow a seed into the ground, a real literal seed, and it gives you back a harvest, right? This is how it works. This is what your ask is, your action, not your voice. So you asking, you've been taught to pray by talking to the sky. That's not how you make it happen. Really asking comes from you doing, and it yields an effect because you've done. I've done, therefore I have. That's how it works. You want to harvest, plant a real seed. That's how you ask. You don't ask by saying, let me have corn growing in my backyard, God, please. You ask by walking out there and putting corn in that backyard. And then you ask by every day going and watering to it and taking care of it. There you go. Lorenzo said it's the law of cause and effect. This is actually facts, guys. That's what it meant. It didn't mean ask to the sky. So that's my answer, of course, to that. And just to speak on that too, about being grouped into different levels of consciousness. Let me explain something to you. Here's what we mean by that for those that may not know. Let's just say we're all on a highway, right? We're all on one big highway. Now, if you're conscious or you don't believe in religion, you're in red cars. All of everybody's car is red. If you are religious, you're in a blue car, right? Blue. All right, so boom, you got red and blue cars on this road. Now, you're on a journey. Everybody's going to the same place. Now, your car is red. Now, on this journey, you went by that road, you went by that exit, you probably traveled on that road for a little while where you were angry, that bitter road. That's part of your journey. You probably gonna hate white people because they gave you the Bible originally by way of slavery to the people that live in this demographic. This is how your ancestors received it, through people that we call white. So you're probably gonna get angry and not like them. You're probably going to wish death among them. You're probably going to call them racial slurs because you've been called them by them and feel justified in doing so. You're probably going to feel superior. You may drive through drive on your journey in that same red car, and in that car you're going to drive by, the highway that feels superior because you melanated, right? And this happens to every one of us. It's not your fault. It's part of your journey. So even now, when you understand this, you're gonna want the color of your car to change. Unfortunately, it's still red. I'm not battling with with the pain and the anger anymore. I'm past that. You're still in a red car. So now we saying, I don't like to be conscious. Well, they see you as that. That's what you are. We shouldn't judge each other and say, I don't want to be called this, because we need to embrace each other and understand that consciousness and all this stuff, whatever we're calling it, it is a journey. And what your faults or your mental hangups, because you haven't worked them out yet, is not any indication of how I think. So we have to stop allowing people to make us feel like we don't want to be called something because other people. You ain't gonna get away from it. You can't control what others say. All you can do is worry about you. But the main thing to keep in mind is that, man, you are on a journey. Some people, like I said, they are on the same journey as you, but right now they're bitter and they hate freaking white people. They just do. They do. They're on that level right now. Then they keep on going on that journey to where they come out of that and they realize, wait a second, what do I need to hate white people for? Think about it, right? I had someone tell me that they were so drowned in this before that they weren't even comfortable around white people. I'm talking about in a supermarket where you're around white people who are not poisoning your food, who are not enslaving you. They're not freaking sending you to the military. They're not beating you on your back. None of that. But you don't even feel comfortable around them in the dairy section. Like, are you a weirdo? Like, really? You fell for that? Like, don't fall for that. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is the questions I used to ask myself when I went through that same journey. And I came out on the other side like, what the heck was I thinking? And then you blame yourself. No need to blame yourself. Just realize that's where you were. And a lot of it is who you subjected your mind to. You let people teach you who were angry, and they made you angry. So that's why I say eat the meat and spit out the bones. Let's see here. Jamie C., I'm glad you did. I hear you, Shondell. Thank you very much, Peter. I like that. McNabb said that Kevin Wesley, Ray Hagins, and Real Merkaba are three powerful brothers. As I'm honored, man. I'm sure they would be too. Of course, you guys know I personally know Ray Hagins, and believe it or not, guys, I actually spoke with Merkaba this week. Josh, I didn't tell you that. I actually spoke with Merkaba this week. Yeah, I did. I actually sent him a message on Instagram and just told him that he was really one of the best teachers in terms of teaching literature and sources from the Bible. One of the best that I've ever had the pleasure of learning from. And he responded back just saying thank you for it. It really meant a lot to him. So that was what's up. Well, I posted back to him and said, I don't know if you know who I am or whatever, but we in the same, we on this mission together or whatever. He didn't respond back after that. So maybe he. I mean, if I would put all that in the beginning, he probably wouldn't even have read it anyway, man. Come on. It's your fault. hmm LaShawn, LaShawn, I hear you loud and clear, brother. That's a question you won't get an answer to. Um, that's the question that it should be reserved for the person who believes in it. You know what I mean? So it'd be hard to ask somebody else to tell you what's in that man's mind. But I think that's a really interesting question, to be honest with you. But again, I do think that speaks to where we are on our journey, not facts. I think it speaks to where we are on our journey. Again, I told somebody the other day, nobody is beyond having questions asked to them. I can't answer that question because I can't speak for someone else, though, LaShawn. I know you understand that. Let's see here. Mr. Glasses said we need to come out of believing and start getting deep into the knowledge, taking the time out to get to know some of the things that's already, that's all, and really about taking time to think things through. I agree. I agree. I mean, again, guys, we used to just taking something. If we read, we take what we read as facts. We take what we hear as facts, and we don't really even know how to validate facts. So, if something sounds good, that's normally like, oh, I felt that, and that's what church do to you. It makes you subscribe to what sounds good. You'll hear a preacher in church, and he gonna preach until he get an amen. And if he don't get it, he gonna tell you he preaching better than you amen to make you feel like you should be amening harder. Like that's what he's gonna do. And when he's preaching to you, of course, you're gonna hear somebody in the back and be like, "Oh, I felt that, brother," or "Amen." That's confirmation. And we learn to kind of to take what sounds good as proof. That's what we do. We got to get out of that. Like you said, it's a learned behavior, and so it's not a you problem; it's a mental problem. And all we're doing is all we need to do is just talk to people about some of the conclusions they came to, and literally ask them to logically explain how they got to that conclusion. And then you'll find the hiccups. You can always tell when a person can't articulate themselves because that a lot of times that speaks to the sheer fact that they really don't know why they came to that conclusion. And so they can't logically tell you, i.e., why do you believe in Jesus? Because he's the Son of God. That's what I was told when I asked the person that. That's not articulating how you believe in something at all, but it just shows that his rationale was very incomplete. So I lost a lot of friends, even turned down and rejected when I asked that I believe in God. I'm from some of the most beautiful women because of the God concept. Man, listen, man, let me tell you something. I post pictures on vegan social if you ever saw, if you can figure you guys on there. Also beard game because I got a beard, and I'll have beautiful women come to my inbox and say stuff, compliment me. Now, obviously, if you think someone is attractive, you're probably gonna go through their pictures. Now, I do post a lot of pictures, but most of what you're gonna find from me is like information. So what happens is people will go to it. And you'll find the same woman that just told me I was attractive or beautiful or had pretty eyes. Now she'll come back and say, I look like the devil. And I mean, it's a matter of just them going through and seeing what I believe in. So I definitely know what you mean, man. Honestly, that just tells me where they are. If you mad at me because I don't believe in nothing. And it's not even that I was even interested in them anyway. I just find it funny that they come back just to say, oh, never mind. You don't even believe in God. I ain't got no time for that. And I'm like, okay. So I know what you mean, man. It's tough. It really is. And that's another reason why I spoke about, being lonely. It's tough, man. You're going to have people who group you into a box simply because of your belief. Your friends who already know you will walk away. It's crazy, man. So And we have to be honest and say we're human. I mean, many of us, we like to say, it don't bother me none, forget them. I'm on my mission. Whoever ain't coming, they just stay coming. I get that, but at the same time, man, it could get rough. I mean, like I said, I felt it last night for real, for real, for real. And I don't know if it was just so I can talk about it today and maybe talk to some of you guys about other people who are going through it. But Josh will tell you guys, I meant to say this earlier, matter of fact. So if you want to show now, if you're around the Charlotte area, please keep in mind that we're doing an event there. Vibrations, okay? I don't know the address off the top of my head, but that is this month, April the 28th, and it's just for that. So for all of you guys who are looking for a place to go and hang out and meet people who think like you, come out at 5 o'clock. Myself and Lorenzo will be there teaching, of course. We'll do a Q&A afterwards, and then after that, the venue opens up into a club where we'll be able to drink, sit around, talk, whatever, have fun. So if you guys are in the area, don't miss that night, man. I'm gonna perform as well. I have Wakila Singer. If Wakila was on the show a couple of weeks ago, so she and I are actually working on a song to do for you guys. So if y'all in the area, man, please come out. As a matter of fact, if y'all planning to come, go hit that Eventbrite soon as possible and let me know y'all interested, because I gotta fork out money for a deposit on this venue, and I want to make sure that y'all gonna come before I mess around and lose my money. I'm already broke, so please, you guys, make sure that y'all do not make me hurt myself trying to do something nice for y'all. If y'all gonna come to this event, make sure y'all gonna come and don't have me out here looking crazy. I'm doing this for you guys. Someone says, where is it? It is in Charlotte. So if you live near Charlotte, please show your interest in this event. We're gonna have so much fun, guys. So please don't have me get no event looking crazy. People gonna be like, Kevin out here, getting venues, don't nobody even show up. He lame. Don't have me out here like that, y'all. Make sure y'all show up where I'm gonna be. Support me, man. Support this movement. Everywhere we go, it needs to be filled up. If you guys are in the area, make it a point to come out. I know y'all can get this information online, but wherever I'm gonna come to, guys, please make sure y'all come out and support. This be the evolution. I can't do it without y'all, believe me. Any of these people you see out here with these humongous followings, people fill up their shows. They don't fill their own shows up, and they don't follow themselves. So I need the help from you guys to continue to share, post my stuff, come to my events, all this stuff to help. A lot of you guys come back and say, I like a lot of teachers, but man, there's something more about what you're doing. Well, then push me. Make sure that I'm known as much as any of these other teachers, so they can come and get my perspective. Half of these people don't know who I am, so I need you guys' help. Remember that. Let's see here, begging for change. It's my son, Cool, thank you. See the links in the chat, guys. Thank you, Beverly. Begging for change says, my son don't know I don't believe. My son knows I don't believe in Jesus or God. I don't hide anything from him. And you shouldn't, man. They should know. And here's the thing, guys. A lot of people ask me, and I'm going to do a whole entire video on this, but they ask me, what about when you have children? And I'm free from religion. I'm no longer religious. I don't need religious literature at all. And I want to make that clear. What I mean by not being religious mean you don't believe in a Jesus either. Like, people like to say I'm not religious, but it still mean they still read the Bible. When you understand that you don't read literature anymore and don't believe in any literature as evidence of God, because God ain't tell nobody to write nothing. When you get to that point, a lot of people say, well, my children, the other parent, they still want to teach my child. And my thing is like, listen, you're not going to stop them. Like, if a person believes in Jesus and believes in hell, you're not going to stop them from teaching their child that, right? But what you can do is vaccinate your child with critical thinking. You can test your child. You can hit them with different, narratives to see how they respond and make them ask questions back. Have them don't fall for anything. Listen, guys, give them the Santa Claus narrative. Tell them about Santa Claus and ask them to tell you why Santa Claus cannot be true. And build their mind. At the beginning, they may not be able to tell you, but you can tell them how to know that that Santa Claus isn't true, right? So if I'm dealing with my children, right, and we've done this, I'm dealing with my children, we'll be like, okay, Santa Claus, he is said to know if you're naughty or nice. He is said to bring you gifts based on the fact of if you are naughty and nice. And he brings gifts to every single child on the face of the planet. Okay, now if someone tells you this, what would you say to them to establish whether or not they're telling you the truth? And my kids work with it. They say, well, wait a second. They feed every child? Yeah, that's Santa Claus's story. He feeds every single child in one night. Well, the planet pretty big couldn't do that. No. And eventually they start coming up with, wait a second, if he feed every child, then what about those poor children who can't even get food? Why would they even want toys? Wouldn't they need clean water? You can't give that to them. Well, it doesn't matter if you're naughty and nice, because that's to assume that every child who grows up in an unfortunate situation in terms of finances is a naughty child now. It seems like their gifts are based on their parents' income and not whether or not the child was nice. This seems simple to an adult, but to a child, you're teaching them how to critically think. So when someone comes to you and tells you, if someone tells you that Zoran here is all loving, but he kills people when he's mad, is he still all loving? No. Okay. So you want to work with your child by way of building their critical thinking faculties. You can't go to them and just be like, listen, don't believe nothing they say at the church, because they're going to tell your mama or tell their mama or father, and they're going to not want you around their child or get mad. It's going to be a big ordeal. Trust me. If they're a believer, they're not going to like it. So I think you can handle it better than they can. So that's what I would say. Brother Hagen's still around, guys. He does his shows on I think Sundays as well, earlier in the day. He goes live from his channel. So yeah, he's still doing this thing too. He still travels around too. Last time I think I saw him doing a speaking engagement, it was in St. Louis. So I think he still goes to the African village out there, like every other week or something like that. Not really sure. Saying, why did the Bible describe Jesus as a black man? Let's see, I missed you. With hair like wool, contrary to the white, blue-eyed Jesus in America. Well, the Bible, you say, why does the Bible describe Jesus as a black man with hair like wool? That is contrary. What your question should be is, why do we have a character who is white with blue eyes that is attributed to being Jesus, to the contrary of the Bible saying that blah, 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 whoop-de-whoop, right? Because you got to understand, the Bible's literature was not written by people who gave you white Jesus, right? This concept, this idea started in Africa, so to speak, where they took characters that were in Africa. There was already, like things that Jesus did, so to speak, was attributed to Jesus, of course, became who Jesus is now, from Mithra all the way down to Horus, and of course now you have Isus, and then, or Yeshua, Isus, then Jesus. So you're talking about demographically, Jesus is supposed to be black, but if you're saying Jesus is black because he has, hair like sheep's wool, then you have to say he has fire in his eyes too. Which would be a literal, if you want to say literally. At the end of the day, if you're a believer, you say you don't really care what color the person was or whatever, but we know that regardless of what color you make the person, he's still fake, bro, right? Thank you very much, CK. I can't say it. Thank you very much for the donation. Absolutely, and I will persist. Now that I don't believe, I actually read the Bible more. I read it critically now as a means to reinforce my non-belief. I have fully divulged my views to my peeps. I got to get my ideas lined up. I like that, Ms. Teach. I do too. I read the Bible critically as well. I see things in it that I never saw, and not that I never saw, but I interpret things or notice things that I never noticed, simply because I'm thinking critically. If you walk into a room and you just walk into a restaurant to pick up a to-go order, and you walk back out and somebody says, well, how many people in there, right? What kind of paintings is on the wall? You're going to be like, what kind of question was that? You didn't even give me a chance. Well, because you went there for one reason, to get your food. When you read the Bible, you're reading it for one reason, right? And you read it with one perspective, to believe that it's true, to believe that God can't be wrong, all this stuff. But if I say go back into that same restaurant where you picked up that to-go order and now tell me how many people are in there, and then tell me what kind of paintings on the wall, if you go in looking for that, you will find it. So if you read the story of God in anybody, for that matter, at least in the Bible, and then if you under the realm of belief, you're going to see it differently than when you go back and read it with a critical eye. And this is why most Christians, this is the problem most of them have with me. They say it's cherry picking, but it's not. It's literally calling it like it is, because I look at it to be critical. I'm looking for evidence that this God is evil. And if you look for it, you'll find it. You will find it. If you read the very first story in Genesis with the idea to prove that God is evil, you'll have your evidence right there. He created two people, introduced them to sin that he created, said it was sin, which there was no sin until he created it by saying that's a sin. He the one said it. And now we got to pay for something that he said. We established last week eating fruit wasn't evil. But now everybody got to die, right? Due to two people eating fruit. Is it evil to punish a child for something his father did? I think many people would agree that yes, it is. What about the grandchild for something that the grandfather did? Many of you would say even more so. What about the great grandchild for something the great grandfather did? And you can go on. It gets worse every single time, right? So now you're talking about every single person now out of all the generations on earth are still being born in sin because of what two people did. This would in fact make your God evil and the very reason for sin. He's the very reason you need him, for the very reason that he created sin. Like, it's so crazy. Kingsley Alley said, "You guys are irrational. Please explain." Most believers don't even read the Bible for themselves. That's absolutely true. As a Christian, that was one of the things that perturbed me, because most Muslims seem to know their literature or read their Bible, and most Christians don't. Most Christians, in fact, say they're a Christian because their mama is, or somebody in their family is, or they believe in Jesus. They don't go to church. They don't practice anything. They don't read for understanding. No, nothing. They believe God wrote the Bible, but they don't read the Bible to see what it says. How can you really believe that a God gave information to write one book, one holy book, and you don't read it to care what it say, but you believe in this dude? And that's why I'd be like, you don't believe in this dude. Because if you did, you'd want to read his book. I mean, it's God. It's the God of the universe. You don't want to read his book? Come on, man. People asking me, Kevin, when you going to drop your book? But you wouldn't read God's book? Like, come on, man. You believe it's God's book, but you won't read it. It's just funny, man. So you really think about it. Why do people no longer believe in Thor, Mithra, and Zeus? And do like hundreds of people. Well, I mean, honestly, man, there are people who still believe in these people. So it's a big planet, man. And again, when I tell people, like, the way you look at Superman, Batman, Spider-Man as superheroes, Mithra, Zeus, Hercules, Thor, all these people were gods, not heroes. Superman, Marvel, all these characters are called heroes because they're in the concept of what a hero is. They're not gods. They just have superpowers. When you look at Zeus and the fact that he was called a god, in history, he was a god. He was worshipped by people at one time. You understand? Mithra was literally worshipped by people. These were God. Thor was worshipped. These were literally people who were worshipped in the history of time. That's why they're called gods. So just consider how many of those that there have been, and now consider how you believe Yahweh is God. I mean, I promise you, 1,000 years from now, we're going to be looking back and he's going to be like Zeus, because we're going to move past that. We know somebody might have colonized us and created a whole different one, but it's going to end up like Zeus, because we grow and we outgrow the beliefs, and they recreate them to give them back. That's what it seems that has happened. Let's see here. See, Kimberly says, "I agree. I asked a coworker if he was a Christian. He said yes, but doesn't go to church." Or exactly, he just prays. Like, what's that supposed to be? You don't even know what to pray about. Like, how you know you're not praying for something that Jesus told you not to pray for? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Okay. Mhm. Wow. That's very. Mhm. It could be. I mean, I would say, I wouldn't doubt it. You know, I would say that people are afraid of. Some people could be afraid to read it simply because they may find out something about this guy they don't want to find out, or even see the things in it that they're told are in it. That you know. But I would say mostly you're dealing with people who are literally just lazy, or they believe right, or they believe they won't understand it. So many people won't read the Bible because they think that they're not called to understand it. So even if they do read it, and because the language is cryptic and it says stuff like thou and thus, things we don't say anymore, especially if they read in King James Version and stuff like that, they use these old, outdated words or whatever, they'll just be scared away from it and think that they have to be anointed to even read it. So they won't touch it, man. So a lot of them are scared out of it, honestly. Hmm. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. I wouldn't argue with that, man. I promise you. Let's see here. Somebody said, Kevin, do you dig into government conspiracies or government things like that as well? I do. I mean, that's obviously what made me question this Bible. I started seeing the government do things and lie to the people and do things. So I started thinking, if they can lie about all of this, why am I still saying it's okay that they gave this book to my ancestors? Why do I think that they wouldn't have lied about this in the past? That they used to present false news. That's literally their genius. A colonizer's genius is to separate, and we know, we learn, this is in the Bible, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but a house divided against itself will surely fall. So divide the house and it will fall. Religion divides you. It takes people, it takes human beings, forget human, because I forget that, because people are like, well, hue and man, and the hue, and that's color. Beings. Religion takes beings and make them feel like they need to be at angst with each other because of different religions. And then they give you race to make you feel like that someone else is a less being than you. And you believe that. So then they give you a country and tell you that you got to love your country more than they love theirs, or be a patriot of your country, which is a demographical piece of land that you live on that's called America, that ain't even a real place really, but you got pride in it, right? You're an American and proud to be one. It's weird. But I mean, we're taught to believe these things, so that's kind of how it works. A guy asked me the other day, man. It was during the time of my sister was in the hospital, and we knew she wasn't gonna make it at this point. But my sister's husband was a white guy, so there's obviously white people there, and the white guy, his name's Davey, but his father was there, and his father is just making conversation in like the waiting room, and he says like. He thinks that if these players don't kneel, or if these players don't stand for the national anthem, they shouldn't be able to play. And I mean, he asked me, like, what do you think about that? I said, well, everybody's looking at me like, don't cuss him out. Don't cuss him out. Like, my mind doesn't work like that. My mind doesn't work like cuss people out who don't think like me. His idea of being that comes from his own perspective, because that's what he's being fed. So I simply asked him, well, what is a flag? He said, if people don't stand for the flag, well, what is a flag? Well, it's our country's. No, what is the flag? It's a fabric, right? Yeah, okay. Why should people stand for fabric? And he was just like, what? So you mean to tell me that someone gave you a piece of fabric and told you that it meant something, told you it can't touch the ground, and then you watch all these people fold it over whatever, and you've been tricked into believing that the fabric is somehow to be honored, and you mad because someone doesn't stand when this flag is being sung about, or when this country is being sung about. Think about what you're saying. And when I said it to him, he was like, I never thought about that. I'm putting too much emphasis on a piece of fabric to try to say somebody else should, someone should be kicked out for not paying respects to a fabric. Come on, man. You're talking about literal lives being taken from people, and innocent people's lives who didn't deserve it, who were unarmed, and these police officers shot them dead. And this is why, these players are doing what they're doing. So you got to look at the catalyst. What you're saying is that these players should be kicked out of the league for responding to mistreatment. It ain't got nothing to do with no flag. You've been tricked into believing it's about the flag. That's your fake news. They won't kneel for the flag. They won't stand for the flag. They won't stand for the national anthem. It ain't got nothing to do with that. People weren't getting shot when nobody been trying to make a stand anyway. So, let's see here. Jim Burke said, I'm no line of fans drawn on maps. It's just so you can know. It's just really so you can know where you are. We don't even know if it's shaped like that, right? So you see people all the time with like the shapes of different states and things on them. It doesn't mean anything. If you want to identify with a landmass, then you're free to do that. But I'm past that stage in my journey. I no longer need to do that. Carrie Duffy asked how to send a donation, Josh. You can do it with the, I don't know, Josh, could you help her out with that? Put a link. So let's see, Jamie C said that, everyone has beliefs. It's up to the person to accept the reality, really. And the reality and truth hurts. It's true. That's true. It's up to every person. And if people say, why you attack people's beliefs? I'm really not attacking people at all. But you have to expect me to share what I know. And that information alone can be offensive. Well, why do you joke? If I don't joke, you'll be offended. Trust me. There's nothing that I can do for you not to be offended because I don't believe in your Jesus. Your Allah, your Krishna, your Mithra, whoever it is that you pray to at night thinking that they hear you. I don't believe in them, and that would offend you. So why would I hold back joking? Like, I'm gonna joke. I'm a joking person. People expect me to be a robot and teach the way they want me to teach. Like, you can't ask me not to be myself. Like, I like to joke, and frankly, people learn from jokes. Like, jokes can teach as well. So let's see. Mhm. I agree. Right. People love to play a victim. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they do. To every day I come to your page, you talk about religion. Like, that's my page. What you mean? Like, my page is Be the Evolutionist for people who struggle with religion, who've been lied to, indoctrinated. Like, dude, my page is not going to turn tomorrow into a Muslim page. Please stop thinking that. You're crazy if you think that. So, absolutely, I agree, man. I'm gonna go to like the channel Tasty where they talk about food and show food. I'm like, why y'all always showing food? Someone be like that's the page, man. If you don't want to see that, don't come to my page. You come to my page, no matter if when I wake up, you're gonna get something that's about religion. And it's not a testament to how I feel at that moment. It's just rather some truth I'm giving them for people that's early in the morning looking through their phone. Hopefully they can see something to make them think. That's pretty much what it's about. It's not to hurt you guys. Thank you very much, LaShawn. You know you're the man, brother. Religion drives people crazy. It does. Right. Tim Thomas said, not attacking. Religion bullies the world. We just inform the truth. That's absolutely right. I just put on my page, guys, a bunch of Christians holding like God hates Muslim signs and stuff like that. And it's like, so, and y'all attack me, right? See here. Someone had said that you guys were irrational. I thought he was going to explain why you were irrational. If you did explain, try to say it again if you don't mind. I didn't see it. Let's see here. James Staley says, what do you think about mediums by the body being in the ground and the mediums are able to say things only you and the deceased know? I would say first off, that was something I would have to be experienced myself. Somebody sit in front of me and tell me something that only my mother or my sister or somebody that I know that died knew. Other than that, man, I would say that if anybody's telling you that, oh man, they knew exactly what my mama would know. If I were you, I would actually tell that person to exercise some critical thinking skills because these mediums, man, all over the world, and when they get investigated, none of them turn out to be real. None of them. Like there hasn't been one yet. Period. So no mediums has been found to be real mediums who really communicate with the dead and convey information back. I asked the person that today. They said, why do you tell Christians that their belief isn't real? Listen, man, people use religion to elevate. Whether you like it or not, Kevin, religion helps people. Religion helped me. Religion helped my mom, right? My brother was a drug dealer, or he was on drugs, and you know, with this religion and going to church every Sunday and stuff like that, he's better now. How can you come at something that makes so many people better, man? Like, what's wrong with you? And I try to tell people that religion is a powerful medicine, but it's also a powerful poison. You know, there are people who benefit because they're able to turn religion into something and make it work for them. That is true. But there are more people who suffer from it. So where you take a person that's like a pastor who learned to make the religion work for him, he's standing up there preaching to a whole people who giving them all their money. You know, we can name a few who religion has worked well for. But the majority of those people are making that person rich and are not benefiting from their beliefs at all. They give their money expecting to receive it back, and they don't, and they feel like they did something wrong, which is the reason God didn't give them the money, and they blame themselves. And so, you know, they suffer. And believe me, someone says, well, Islam is powerful, man. It takes brothers who were going the wrong road and turns them into brothers with daggum militant, you know, and diligence, and gives them foundation. Yeah, but it also rapes a lot of girls, right? It also, marries off a lot of women and controls them. Tell women they should cover up. It also manipulates manipulates the people that subscribe to the belief. So just because you can find positive things, uh, about a belief system doesn't make it positive. There's two different sides to the coin, and you must have to consider that from your demographic, you just grew up on seeing the good side of it. You don't see the bad side of it. Mhm. 21 years. She fasted for 21 years to try to find a husband, and that one never came. And she felt like she was doing something wrong. God, what am I doing that you won't send me a husband? You and this was her belief. And honestly, man, preachers make their people believe that God gonna send you. Well, you ain't gotta go find no man. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. I think they do it because they know if you get a man, he ain't gonna let you give all that money up there. I think because here's the honest truth, man. Women give more than men do. This is a fact. Women are better donators than men, especially in church. Number one, women are the majority in the church. They don't just give money, they give of their time and effort more than men. You look at the majority of your usher board, you look at the people who clean the church every single week. It's women, man. You might have a dude, a deacon, or somebody who might cut the grass for the church or whatever, but when you look at the effort that people bring to the table free, it's women, man. It's a fact. And women give more than men. So I honestly believe that preachers be like, God will send you a husband. Don't be out here trying to find no man. That's not your place. The Bible says, he who finds a wife, he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Ain't that what it say? Now, yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, so sit there and wait for your man to come. But you can't talk, you're a woman. Right? And they just gonna keep on time, and you happy because they ain't got no man yet. So I really believe that. So mhm. So no, that's true. We're definitely gonna be doing that because we do have a lot of people who have given us really some horror stories, guys, and they'll make you really think. They'll help a lot of you guys who suffer from it, and we've gotten permission from a lot of those people to actually be able to read it without their name, just so you can understand what they went through. So we got everything from people being, you know, raped by their preachers for several years without being able to say anything to just everything. So we definitely gonna go into that. Y'all really will enjoy the information that y'all get from there. Hopefully it'll resonate with a lot of you as well. Let's see, half of your soul, half of our soul, they say, was born in a manger. And Jesus rises half of our Savior. The other half is Lucifer. Um, rest assured they both have been crucified. I thought that was gonna be a question. My bad, Kevin. Okay. Says what it says where to go do research. Well, well, right. What is research? Searching again, research. So it's just you taking the time to look over the things you were taught. That's where it started for me. You have a Bible, right? So when you read your Bible and you see some of the things that it says, simply try to find those things in reality. You can't go personally to Africa, but you can look online. You can try to find these people. You can read other sources. You can take your time and try to, really firmly go through the literature that you've been taught so you can try to make it real. Like that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to research the Bible, not other religions. I was trying to research the Bible and prove its validity. Try that. Try to make the Bible true. And you can start here. If we let's remove the Bible, because a lot of times people's brains just shut down when we're talking about the Bible. Let's talk about a comic book. Let's say we're reading Superman, right? Okay, so we have a book from Superman, and it has a narrative, it has Lois Lane, it has, Clark Kent, all these people that belong in this literature. Okay, how do we know that Superman never existed, right? How do we know this? Okay, we have to find Superman in reality. We have a book that has Superman in it. outside of this book can we find proof that any of these people existed? Let's just say that there was a real city named Metropolis. Okay, you find out there's a real city named Metropolis. Wow, that could mean Superman is real, right? That's powerful. But then you learn that people can use cities because they do exist just to write them into their narrative, right? So this is how it works. When you look at the Bible and you say, okay, wait, there is a Mount Sinai. So that means that Moses really went up it for 40 days and God really gave him 10 commandments and they really worshiped the golden calf and really this because there's a Mount Sinai. Again, you want to make sure that you're not prematurely jumping to conclusions. Because there is a mountain that people call Sinai does not mean that the narrative of this story is true. Just like in a movie, if you put the president in Washington, okay, put him in a suit in the White House, it doesn't make him the real president. It's a narrative. Someone's writing a book and using geographical areas that already existed. And that doesn't make it true. Now you look for people's bodies. Can you find Superman? Can you find Clark Kent? Can you find anybody that supposedly lived when he supposedly lived that wrote about him? No, I cannot. When you start to find out that Superman comes from the minds of people only and not from the realm of reality itself, you can begin to understand that Superman is not, in fact, a real character, but a figurative literary character, period. This is the same thing you would do with the Bible. Hopefully, that makes a little bit of sense to you. Reginald Williams said, that's how I became awake. I started reading the Bible, trying to change my life. In the process, I saw lies and contradictions after contradiction. Absolutely. That's exactly it. It's like anything. You want to know if somebody lying to you? Listen. Listen to what they say. Eventually, they will say something that's a contradiction. Eventually, they'll say something that isn't what they said in the beginning. Eventually, there'll be a hiccup in their story. If you want to know if somebody's lying, look at the lie. Listen to the lie. Listen to the person talking. That way you can verify for yourself. And you're going to have to use your logic. You can't use someone else's logic to find out Jesus isn't real. You use someone else's logic to find out he was. And because your brain is still working that way, it's still trying to do the same thing. I know Jesus real because my aunt said when she was a kid, she had cancer and it went away. You cannot believe in Jesus because your aunt said something. You can't, and therefore, it would be irresponsible to not believe in Jesus because your aunt said something. You understand? If someone gives you information, you have to process it yourself to make a decision on whether or not you're going to stand on it or not. If you still just buying stuff that people saying, you haven't changed. That means you're not awake. That means you still sleep. That means that you're still dreaming. And your dreams, you can't control. You can't control what you think because you haven't taken control over your mind. You can't control the fact that you believed in Jesus once. You couldn't control it when you did, right? And you had to get control over your mind to get rid of this concept. If you have not done that, you still frankly are asleep. You just ain't dreaming about Jesus. But you still buying everything that everybody told you without going behind it. You can't be that way because people are going to mix truth with a lie. People can tell you truth and on their journey still say things that have not been solidified as facts. And they could be wrong. I've heard some of the best teachers say stuff that's I would never agree with it, period. And they are amazing teachers. People ask me all the time, what you think about this person? What do you think about this person? I tell them simply, I think the same about them as I think about everybody else. I eat the meat and spit out the bones. I got nothing bad to say about any teacher. I don't agree with all of them, but that's not for me to say out loud why I don't agree with it. That's crazy. So again, have your own mind and validate the information that you hear, guys, from everybody. I don't care if they truth speaker, if they Christian, no matter what. Christians can even tell you the truth. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to the person and then make your decision. Was you gonna say something, Josh? Okay. Yeah, Jeffrey Crocker, thank you very much for the donation. I would not consider myself that. I would consider myself something else. That's what I say. I'm something else. I don't have a name to call what I am. I am truly something else. I am, man. I don't believe that there's not a purpose to life. I don't subscribe to religion, but I think that your purpose is your own. We spent our whole life wondering what God's will was for our life, right? What's God's will? What God wants from me? I'm trying to please him. I want to be everything he wants me to be. So much so to you don't even know your own. So when you lose this belief in God, you ask questions like, what's my purpose? Because you thought your purpose came from God. Your purpose is for you to figure out. Your purpose is up to you. It's the will of you, the God, that your purpose should bow to the will of. What do you want to be with your life? You are as valuable as you want to be, as you feel you are. You don't need someone else to give you purpose. You don't. Here's a good one. All right. Just imagine that one of these kung fu guys, right? They take a brick and they break the brick. You guys know there's like a real like formula to that. There's a real process. They're not just gonna hit the brick and it breaks. Here's what happens. When they're breaking this brick, if you hit the brick expecting to feel the pain from this brick, you're gonna pull up and not use all your effort to break this brick. So it's a formula. What they do is they look below the brick. So they see the brick, but they look below it and imagine their fist in that area, below the brick, through it, if you will. So whenever they begin to push through to break that brick, they literally don't even see the brick. They're looking below it to move as fast as they can to get to that point. This is how they're able to break the brick. This is what I call purpose. It's to be able to see yourself somewhere and then change the course of your decisions to make yourself be in that place. That's purpose. And that purpose only comes from you, not some God. So I do believe that we have purpose, not that we don't. People say, well, if you don't go to war when you die, well, what's the purpose? That's crazy. You know, you don't have to go somewhere special when you die to have purpose. I have purpose right now. I gave myself my purpose. When I walked away from religion, I said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake people up. I'm going to teach people the truth because I spent my life teaching people a lie. And I feel responsible for teaching people the truth. That is my purpose. That's why I do what I do. That's just how I see it. I just see it like that. So I don't feel like my purpose got to come from somebody outside of me. You know, you called to do something great. Who called me? How come that person can't tell me? Why they telling you? They couldn't call me to tell me I was called? I mean, that's kind of weird, right? And most people walk away from religion like, you mean I'm not called? It hurt me too. I was like, my mama died, daddy wasn't there, grandmother died young, all my grandparents was dead when I was born, lived on my own since I was 15. Life freaking sucked, y'all. Like y'all waking up to cooking, getting told to get up and go to school. Nobody told 13, 14-year-old me to get up to go to school. I had to get up and go to school myself. I didn't smell nothing cooking, nothing like that. Not even on Saturdays, no nothing. It was me and my brother. That's it. So, you know, when you look at things like that, and then people tell you that because you're going through this, God gonna do something amazing for you. God gonna bless you. He gonna make up for everything that happened to you. That was one of the hardest things about me losing religion. I didn't want to lose the fact that God was going to reward me for all the pain I suffered. Like I really thought it was. So it was kind of like, do I really want to walk away from this belief and then forsake my birthright, forsake what I have coming to me because of what I went through? Then I thought about it. If I'm truly owed something because I went through, and this dude ain't gonna give it to me simply because I don't believe in him no more, and he didn't leave evidence to prove himself, then forget him, he can keep it. I'm not gonna keep on living my life expecting somebody to do something for me, and they're not doing it. At some point, you're gonna wake up and say, okay, you're not who you said you were. Like for instance, let's say somebody meets me, they tell me they're a multi-billionaire, right? I got all of this money, They never give you none. They never show it. They never help you when you need it. But you keep being friends with them because you think if you ever need them, they'll be there. You done needed them 3 or 4 times. They told you no every time. Now they treat you wrong, but you hang in there because they're a billionaire and you might need them. They're not gonna help you, man. Walk away from these people. That's how it is with the biblical God for me. I don't need your gifts, man. And in fact, don't do nothing else for me. And this was months before, probably a year or two before I walked away from religion. I stopped praying. Just back to that. Do you pray? I stopped praying because I was like, you don't have to do anything else for me. There are people dying of starvation. Obviously, you got your hands full giving people calls and crap like that. They standing up in church saying you gave it to them. I gotta believe them, right? They wouldn't just lie on you, and you let them lie on you. So let's just say you're giving them promotions, you're giving them cars, you're giving them better jobs. But then there's people who live in a different demographic or even in the same area who's sleeping on the street that night. And it's not because of their own decisions. You know, you got people who dying every day, they died, you know, of cancer, begging Jesus to heal them, and he didn't, right? So my whole thing was, I'm not praying anymore. Don't do nothing else for me. I'm in an area where, you know, we suffer from racism, and I am the target of such racism. But even in this demographic, I can still earn things on my own. I can still go out and make a better life for myself. I can do that. Don't give me nothing else. Give people clean water. Give people food. That was my conversation with God, or who I thought was God at that time, some years ago. Don't give me another gift. Help people who need it, because obviously your hands are full because it must be. I feel that anybody is selfish if you're praying to Jesus to help you with anything and you're not starving to death, because there's people who starving to death. That's a selfish prayer. Pray for them. Now, if you starving, you in pain to the point you can't help, I can understand it. But me at that point, it was just like, there's nothing that I need that's more important than them getting food, man. So just don't worry about me. I'll take care of myself. Let's see here. Atlanta Swartz said there was a time I was even afraid to sit something on the Bible. Man, I was there too. You think that book is holy. They make you believe it before you even read it. I mean, it's a holy Bible on the front. You're supposed to believe it's the words of God. You didn't even get a chance with that thing. So, nah, man, you got to be real. Turn every page soft so you don't tear the page. Like, you think this stuff is really anointed. It's not, so. Appreciate that, LaShawn. Absolutely. Not my first time saying it. Why we have to get rewarded for being good Christians? Should be rewarded for being good people. Exactly. I agree. And some people will say, well, why do you need to be rewarded for being good people? You shouldn't have to be. If you're truly good, you wouldn't do it for a reward. Well, I agree. I would say you reward good people because it would inspire bad people to be good, not so much to reward good people for being good. It's kind of like something to inspire other people. So in this world, when you see somebody do good, I mean, they should be congratulated for it, even if it's just being a good daddy. That's your job. I get it, but if we begin to uplift fathers and post them everywhere and talk about how beautiful it is for a man to be in his father's life, I mean, a man to be in his child's life, we will probably get more people who would do that because it's something that we're keeping the focus on it. So please understand that we're not, suggesting that people will be rewarded for doing what they're supposed to do, but rather inspiring others that don't. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it is actually. Callie Williams, if you guys saw, Callie Williams was the person who went to his father, who was a bishop, to tell his father in front of his own church, in front of his father's church, of course, that he no longer subscribed to religion. This, of course, got so many people messaging Callie, thanking him for it. Shout out to Callie, like I said. But Callie's like, man, Kevin, I really would like to continue this out to help people who want to come out to their family. And absolutely, yeah, we're definitely going to be doing that. So if you're interested in doing that and you're interested in having a respectful dialogue and having your family on with you or even friends, then we want to be there for you and help you to try to rationalize and, articulate what it is you stand on now. Because that's the whole thing for a lot of people. It's just hard for them to explain it, so therefore they don't. They just rather keep silent because they know if they get questioned, they ain't going to be able to really explain it yet because they, it's just not something that they can explain yet. It takes a little time, so. Mm. Mhm. Let's see here. EAE says, Kevin, are you familiar with the good ship Jesus that snatched up our ancestors from Africa and brought them to the States? I am familiar with what was the name that was attributed to the first slave ship. I'm also familiar with the names that seemed to follow it, which was Grace and Mercy. When I learned this, though, about the good ship Jesus and, of course, those other ships being called Grace and Mercy, I used to think about those songs that sing to Jesus and say, you brought me over, or your grace and mercy brought us through or brought me over. And I'd be thinking about it like, wow, it's like you're really saying to the boats, So, yeah, I'm familiar with that teaching. Let's see here. Someone says, why do you think people are so religious the older they get? Man, the older you get, the more you set in your ways. I remember, man, I had one dog, and the dog was named Sheba, and then my sons wanted another dog, so we get this other dog, and Sheba's a grown dog. We get this Mastiff, and his name is Egypt, right? So now we got this Mastiff with the pit, and my son says, well, what if because what happened is we had a Mastiff in the house, and the Mastiff, because he was a puppy, we didn't want to put him outside yet. He's just using the bathroom all over the house. I just couldn't do it. So I eventually put him outside, and I'm like, Sheba's a really good dog, so I'm thinking he'll learn from her on things like that. So instead of like finding a spot in the backyard, he'd do it everywhere. But people would be like, my sons was like, what if he gets outside and Sheba regresses, right? What if Sheba learns from him or unlearns her good dog qualities and learns his? And I was just informing him it doesn't work that way. If a baby has learned not to poop his pamper, he probably won't continue to do it because it will become disgusting to him. Because now he's learned this. Learned behavior is very hard to do away with. So just like a baby, they think about, even if you thought about using the bathroom on yourself right now, it would sound disgusting because you're not a baby, of course. You've been not doing this for so long. This is the same with religion. They think your ideas are literally disgusting and demonic. So when you come to them with this information, they so set in their ways, man, they just don't want to hear it. And all they have literally is what they were taught. That's pretty much it. And it's hard for them to learn. That's why a lot of us say, man, we focus on the young people, because a lot of the older people, it's really hard for them to grasp it. Jamal's room, I really appreciate the donation. If Jesus never existed, why did the early Christians around that time allow themselves and their families to be tortured and killed in various ways by Roman Emperor Nero, defending a man that never lived? Okay, if Jesus never existed, why did the early Christians around that time allow themselves, now here we go, around that time? What time? Are you suggesting the time that Jesus supposedly lived? Because you couldn't be. Nobody wrote about him. What you have to understand is that beliefs were taught for a long time before they even had a book. It was just by the word. It was like an oral law. So these beliefs were being projected on the people by way of just belief, period. So you would have people now that would die for Jesus, and they still don't know nothing about him. And people might say, well, if Jesus don't exist, why are they willing to die? Did you know there's people who's willing to die for Allah? They prove it. They have people who blow themselves up for Allah. That's not a testament to the actual belief. But if you ask him, why would people around that time, take torture for the belief of God? They believed in it. They were convinced to believe in it. Because they allowed, force, absolutely. Right, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, look at the literature. If you're taught that if you reject Jesus, he'll reject you, then the literature itself is why they're allowing themselves to be tortured. If I was a God and people were going to torture you for believing in me, to protect your life, I would say, I understand. Tell them you don't believe in me. We know you do. We know you. I know I talk to you. I know your heart. I know everything about you, right? I'm God. So if you tell people you don't believe in me because you're being threatened, that's not a lie. I'm going to forgive you for that. Don't worry about that. Man, protect your life. I need you on earth. I need you to continue to spread my word and worship me because I like it. Thank you very much, Vic. That's what I would do. I would be saying, if you tell people that you don't believe in me, even with a gun to your head, if you say you don't, I'm burning you in hell. So now you got shot in the head and you're going to hell. Like, who would do that? Like, what person is that freaking evil? That all you know, the only life you know is threatened. And you got to believe, and you got to say you don't believe or say you do believe in somebody or go to hell and lose the one life that you know. You don't even have proof of it. It's obviously a fear tactic. So no God would tell you that if you don't believe in me, you're going to go to hell. Like, you just got to think of the idea of that. If you don't believe in me, you're going to hell. So if I'm a good person and I don't believe, well, you never repented. Repented for what? Like, what you talking about? Yeah, so that's my answer to that. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, I do too as well. You definitely you donated. You asked a question. I want you to get what you wanted. I wanted you to get what you needed out of that. So, again, you have the life of what's supposed to be Jesus during this time frame that Jesus supposedly existed. No one ever wrote about him. He didn't even write about himself. So the earliest writings you get to Jesus is several years after he would have died and risen. Like nobody wrote about this dude. So then you have like people teaching this literature that with no books, right? Forcing this information on people with murder first before they ever believed it. So let's go back to slavery. These people were forced to believe in Jesus by torture, forced to believe in him, not forced to lose their beliefs. So if you say, if Jesus is real, why then does people allow themselves to be tortured for the belief in Jesus? Well, that's to suggest that African spirituality must be real because they were killed because they wouldn't let go of African spirituality and they were given to Jesus. This would mean that whatever the Jews believed in, so is real because there was a Holocaust, right? So any group of people with any belief that was colonized and forced to believe in a different belief, their God was real because they were tortured. Being tortured is not proof that your God is real. That was the point I was making. Thank you very much, Monique. Someone says, I realize the church is a cancer to the community, maybe. And somebody said, well, Kevin, why do you attack people's beliefs? That's why I go in at people's belief systems, because I believe that the belief system itself is a cancer to us all. When you have, I hate to say a group of people. I think it's better to say a group of people grouped into the attributed name as Black, African American, melanated, whatever you want to call yourself. When you have a group of beings that identify with these names that suffer from financial instability, and you understand the only way to correct that would be to bring stability to that, and the money that we have, we give it to an organization that says that Jesus is real, and that belief in that Jesus and that belief in that God that demands that money causes you to give that money. It becomes counterproductive to that group of people who identifies with these attributed names to get financial stability. You become the actual problem, or the actual reason that we can't get stability to this group of people, because you are amongst the people giving your money away to an organization that's misappropriating those funds. If I can say it that way. I hate saying black or white, y'all. I just don't believe in that stuff. Right, King Aku. We must stop to think about the evolutionary and grow as one family. We must find a way to see past the separation tactics that they have given to us. If we can do that, and at the end of the day, nobody will be white, nobody will be black, nobody will be Chinese. There's no Africa, there's no America, there's no Sudan. None of these places on these maps don't exist. Your skin color doesn't exist. This is not who you are. It is what you have identified with. You're not an African. You're not an American. Africa is a colonized name to begin with. And even if you go back to the earliest name of it, you just call it an agreed upon name by the people of that culture, which does not mean that the earth is even named the earth. And it means the earth isn't even named the earth. So these are things that we use to try to, explain things, and it makes us feel more comfortable. But the problem comes when you attach your identity to it. I'm a Mexican. I'm a Mexican because I'm from the demographic that's called Mexico, and I'm telling you where I'm from. But I'm a Mexican and I'm proud. That's super weird. Why are you proud to be from a landmass, right? There's no need to be proud to be from a landmass. You can be proud of your culture, your heritage, by way of seeing your culture, your family do these things and celebrate these things. But being proud because you're from a piece of land, or even that you're a certain color, doesn't mean anything. Don't attach your identity to stuff that is neither here nor there. So I remember 3 weeks ago, the Christians were pretty loud in this chat, and we shut their mouth, and now they're quiet, and I can't see the rest of it. But I don't even think like that. I don't even think like, we got them, we showed them up. I don't think like that. I don't think that there's a winner in this. I think that we're just really trying to have a conversation and rationalize things and get some truth. If somebody may come on here one day who knows a whole lot more than I do, man, I'd hate if they got off thinking they showed me up. It's not a competition, man. We're trying to learn from each other and grow. If you have some information that I don't have, enlighten me, and let's grow from there. But this I beat you type stuff, this ain't battle rap. This is not smack, right? We're not here to just try to see who the smartest and take whoever wins, take the most followers. That's stupid. We're trying to free ourselves. I think that a majority of people who out here in this, they forgot that. We're trying to be free. We're not trying to be in competition and stuff like that. I'm trying to free people. That's really all I care about, guys. I'm not here for the fame and none of that stuff. If everybody was free from religion, I wouldn't be making it. I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I swear to God, I wouldn't. I swear to fake Jesus, I would not be right here, doing what I do, posting the way I post if wasn't nobody believing in this stuff. I would find better use of my time. Let's see here. Michael Jackson, if I can answer quickly. I didn't grow up listening to a whole lot of Prince, EAE, but I do like Prince. But Michael Jackson, as far as his overall talent, just the dancing and stuff, because I was a dancer, so I could do all of that stuff back in the day. Moonwalking, I was doing all that stuff. You find young Kevin out. Thank you very much, Monique. I think I said it. If I did, thank you twice. But I mean, I looked at Michael Jackson. He was just amazing to see. Like, I wasn't so into Prince as much, just because I didn't get exposed to him like that. Now I like Prince now, but in terms of being entertained, Mike the Man. And I can understand that. I can understand that as well. You saying not to identify with Africa is severing the ties of our roots, our heritage, our culture. But is it? Are you who you are because this place was named Africa? Really? I mean, your culture would supersede that, right? The beliefs of the people that precede you has nothing to do with the name of the landmass they lived on. Please understand that the people who you're calling your ancestors did not call that land Africa. Please understand that is a made-up word. It's named after a man with the last name Africanus because he colonized this place. So you had ancestors long before Africanus existed and invaded Africa. You still have your ancestors. You still have your culture. What I'm saying is, don't identify with a land mass. You are people. You are beings. You're not the earth beneath your feet, right? So you don't have to identify with what you call the landmass you're standing on. It's almost like to say dolphins are better because these dolphins are better because they live in the Pacific Ocean, and the other ones are worse because they live in the Atlantic Ocean. It's irrelevant. And you're saying false. Maybe I'm saying something that, okay, she said that has been debunked. I don't know what you're saying has been debunked. What I'm telling you is that the landmass doesn't have a personality. Are you saying that we need to call it Africa and that it has to be called Africa and Africa was the name that Africa gave itself, that the landmass, I mean, just, I don't understand what you're saying is false. So I'm going to respond to other people until you help to clear up where I'm missing your frame of thought. So otherwise, I'll just ramble. Thank you very much again, Jamal. Nero started to his wave of persecution in the year 67 AD, that 67 after Jesus. Your stance is literally the equivalent to saying that MLK never existed. That is absolutely not true. People wrote about MLK. We have pictures of MLK. You have a government who confessed to killing MLK. I don't have to personally witness MLK to know that MLK existed. I hear his teachings. Right. I hear his teachings. I see his teachings. So that it's not the same. You're talking about a person who no one wrote about when he lived, and you're comparing him to a person who had media coverage. And was assassinated within our lifetime, not 2,000 years before us, and the literature is mixed up and plagiarized. If you're going to say Jesus existed, and you're going to say that what? You're going to say Horus existed too? He had the same lifestyle as Jesus, the same things are attributed to him. You got to remember, he comes after a line of people who did the same things as he did, walked on water, rose the dead. So when you come from the standpoint of people died for the sake of Jesus, you still have to remember he's plagiarized, he's copied. Mithra, or not Mithra, but Hindus are waiting on Krishna to come back, and he was being worshipped for 3,000 years before Jesus, and he died and rose again 3,000 years before Jesus. So that's what I'm trying to say to you. Thank you very much, Tim. Honored, brother. I'm being facetious to make a point. U.S. government claims to stand on the Bible. That's more of a reason. that you should question the Bible itself. Looking at things that the U.S. does. The U.S. first of all enslaved people. It gave them the Bible, forced them to believe in it. This is, every government has a way of governing the mental. Government. Control the mind. Okay? Religion is a tool to govern the mind. So, of course, religion would support, or governments would support religion. Religion means religare, to bind or tie up. So, there you go. Milhad, I'm really not trying to put words into your mouth. So, I was just only trying to understand what you're saying. You got to think I'm talking and you're typing. So, if you could actually explain what you're trying to say, and you won't feel like I'm trying to do that. Saying God we trust on the money, and most people trust the money more than they trust, more than they trust themselves, not knowing what God and Jesus really is, going by what they taught to believe. I would disagree with that, brother. Let's see here. You live now, they lived then. You live now, they lived then. You two are not on the same page as far as a time reference. The persecution is documented. You sidestepping it. Again, you're saying the persecution is evidence of the existence of a person. Persecuted, okay? Many people were persecuted for their beliefs, okay? Facts. So please tell me how, the persecution being documented is evidence to Jesus existing. This is what I want you to do for me, if you don't mind. I think, that was his initial question was, if Jesus is not real, why would Christians be tortured or allow themselves to be tortured for the belief in him? So I'm thinking that's what he means. Absolutely. Absolutely. Christians are still colonizing the world. Yeah. Hmm. Still doing it. Still going missionaries. Yeah, they still peddling that information. Milhard, 33. Come on, now, you got to help me out now. You can't just say you did though and expect me to know what you're talking about. Come on, take it easy. You said I twisted your words. I can't twist your words. I'm not trying to. Josh actually read to me what he was trying to say that you said. And he even said, Ben, that some of the information, some of the things you typed could have been mistyped, and he was trying to make sense of it for you. I can only do the best with what I'm given. So please, take it easy. Please relax. Why all the ambiguity? If you need a need for this eternal life, let's see here. It does not make sense. If you need something for eternity, it should be absolutely clear. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. It shouldn't be so much jumping around and can't seem to make a decision on where heaven is. We don't even know where it is. Josh and myself did a video entitled, where is heaven? And we didn't get a response back from any critical thing, any Christian who would claim to know anything yet. So, we don't even know, where this place is, how it came about, anything like that. We were taught that animals don't go to heaven, but Jesus is supposed to come back on a horse, which is crazy. When the Bible speaks about unicorns, it talks about them coming from heaven, and people say, well, unicorns means rhinos, so apparently rhinos in heaven. The literature is so crazy. It can mean one thing at one time and another thing another. I'm glad, Milhad. Let's see here. There is no historical evidence for Jesus. This is absolutely true. I wish we knew without a doubt what the purpose of this world life was unto religion, no doubt. But what the hell is it all for at the end of the day? First, for control. Let's see here. Some say black folks was already here, then brought to Africa. I don't know. Well, you got to think, when they say life as we know it at this point started in Africa, they're talking about the people, the oldest people that we have found, right, were in Africa. So from that, we can, assume that the first people were there, and then they traveled and migrated out to different areas. So the sheer fact that people was on this land when Columbus came to it, or was said to have come to it, or whatever. Because you can read certain literature that says that Columbus never even came to America, that he just attributed for coming to America. He actually went to Mexico, something like that, Haiti, something like that. Wasn't America though. He never stepped foot actually in America, so to speak. But and you guys can just fact check that behind me. Go look that up. You'll see it for yourself. I'm not just blowing smoke here. But yeah, so if you're talking about indigenous people living all across the globe, absolutely. I mean, the literature that we read from Columbus himself says that he thought he was pulling up in Africa when he pulled up. So he must have saw people who would identify as black. So absolutely. Milhad, now again, I think that you're misunderstanding my words. I never said to not identify to your roots. Again, I said your roots are not the landmass that, your roots are not a landmass. You can call your culture, your heritage, and things like that. You can love your culture. Remember me saying that? You can love your heritage. You can love your traditions, right? But Mexico is not real, right? Africa is not real. You are, your traditions are, but Mexico is not a real place. So I want you to understand, I'm not telling anyone to separate themselves from their roots. Thank you very much. Okay. Absolutely. Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. Hmm. Right. Thank you very much, Natika Johnson, and thank you very much, Swag, or Swaggies. Um, my mom's still trying to battle me. I know how it is, man. And just to bring more life to what Josh just said to Milhad, when he says that we're talking about the names of a place, here's what I'm saying: the fact that you don't live in Africa and you still practice what you believe is your culture is a testament to what we're saying. What what you're implying that I'm saying is that if you ain't in Africa, then you shouldn't wear head wraps, or you shouldn't put on, coconut oil and stuff like that. Like, no, I'm not saying that. I would never tell you that. Like, love your culture. You've been told for so long to hate your culture and hate yourself. That's how some people find themselves, is through their culture. Of course, love your culture. What I'm telling you is when you say that, someone says, okay, not Africa, but Africa, Africa is on the walls. Research more. But here again, if the name Africa is on the walls, who wrote it? A man, not a god. This means that the name was given to this landmass. If that is on the walls and it is attributed to this landmass that we're now calling Africa, then understand that those colloquial terms that you're putting up there, Afra, like we got Ra in the middle, right? That's God. Ka, which is like praise, right? Ka is like to have two hands up, receiving the rays from the sun. I get that. But what I'm telling you is that the name of it, regardless of who wrote it on the wall, is not something to attribute your identity to. The name of it, the landmass is the landmass. Now you can look at the Africa and say, we praise the sun, or we get our energy from the sun, in translation, so to speak. And that's absolutely fine. You still do. Your skin still absorbs the sun. Your skin is the largest organ on your body. It absorbs oils as well. You put lotion on your skin and it absorbs it. So we kind of think that when we digest food or eat, we put food in our mouth, chew it up, or drink a substance and swallow it. That is eating. When you eat the sun, your body absorbs the sun and your body digests it and turns it into vitamins, right? Vitamin D. And your body processes that to give energy to your body the same way it does whenever you eat or drink. Your body does eat literally the sun. It consumes it. It absorbs it the same way a plant does. A plant also has roots, which absorbs water, but it also has, a stem and leaves which absorb the sun, and the sun is what helps it to grow. But that's like saying a plant would say, I want to be, okay, she said, she see what I'm saying. Great. I'm so glad. And that's all it's about, is just rationalizing and seeing if we can come to a place where we understand each other. So basically you're saying don't identify with, no, not the motherland. Again, when you say motherland, And that had to be fair. Let me just say that's fair. You call it the motherland because you're saying that that's where they first were. Again, identify with the people, not necessarily the land. The land itself has literally done nothing in terms of by way of that you should honor it. It's land, and the earth. It's just the earth. Okay, so that's what I mean by it. No, we should always do Q&A, man, because honestly, it helps people to bring more of a connection to what they're saying, or at least even again critically think. So, man has educated and dumbed down. Absolutely, they have definitely dumbed us down. Jesus is a side baby. He's God's son, but Joseph raised him. It's true too. I'm about to say it's definitely true. I always wonder why, when King Herod was going to kill all the babies that was 2 years old and under, in an attempt to assassinate what would have been Jesus Christ, why he told Joseph and them to flee and not just kill King Herod, and why God would allow, King Herod to kill all these babies that was 2 years and younger just to try to kill Jesus, and he would just tell Jesus and them to run. Like run, like what God would tell somebody to run. Somebody's trying to kill you. Run. I like the scary movie. Something bad gonna happen because you saw it before. That's God. He already knows what's gonna happen. So you're like, you better run. They got the knife. King Herod gonna kill all the kids. Run. They scatter all down to Egypt and grow up with Lazarus and his mama. Right. This is where Jesus supposedly grew up because he fled Herod, and God allowed Herod to kill all those babies. The Bible definitely will make you raise your eyebrows, man. And again, that's looking at it with a critical eye, because if you read that without thinking critically, you're just thinking, okay, God is honorable. He saved Jesus by telling him and warning him so he could leave. But what about all them babies, man? How was Jesus a carpenter in the desert? Where's the wood? That's funny, man. Absolutely. I think he said he's friends with him, so you can let him know if he wants to. He can definitely call in next week. Okay. Okay. EAE, that's actually, I appreciate that. He says, to be fair, our African ancestors identify themselves by tribe, not a whole continent, and that's absolutely true. However, I appreciate you for being a black woman who isn't brainwashed. Absolutely. Period. Being a being who isn't blackwashed. Period. It's so beautiful to see, people who are not subjected to these beliefs. And again, we all learning together. So I actually understood where she was coming from, because when you say this, people do automatically think that you're saying, Africa sucks. You don't have to, believe in it or whatever, or identify with it. I understand it. So no, Milhad, he was just saying that, when you refer to Africa as a landmass, the people of those times didn't identify themselves with their own land. They didn't identify themselves as Africans. They identified themselves with their culture. So they named themselves based on their culture, their tribe, their tradition, not the landmass, because they all lived in Africa, right? But they went by different names to associate themselves. So it's kind of like we all call ourselves Americans now because we talk to, but it's not a belief. You're right. But I mean, attaching your identity to Africa isn't a belief either. We're trying to talk about beliefs are not a necessity, period. So, I mean, again, if you name yourself something, that's more true than religion. So if you call yourself something that is a truth that you named yourself, that doesn't make it true, though. Like, again, if your name is literally Milhad, that's not even really who you are. That's your name. That's a name that was given to you. So you might identify with that name. You identify with it now. Miller, okay. And that D33 is what throw me off. Miller D. So Milad is what I see. Oh, did she? Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So yeah, so Miller, like, okay, let's just say your mother named you Miller. Does that make that really your name because she named you that, or that's the name you go by because she named you that? Like, you don't have to identify with the name Miller. Like, you might say huh when someone calls your name Miller, but if someone says everyone named Miller is stupid, would you get mad? Like if you would, you'd have to really check yourself and wonder why you mad at something crazy like that. So that's what I mean. Let's see here. Jamal's room says because you don't sacrifice you and yours over a dude who isn't even real when the dude is a figure to your time. This is called strong reasonable doubt, like it's said to be the equivalent of Malcolm X. Oh, I mean of MLK. Because you don't sacrifice you and yours over a dude who isn't even real when the dude is a figure to your time. And that's not just Christians. Believe me, it's Muslims too. I've probably been threatened by more Muslims to be honest with you. Them jokers don't play. You don't have to go too far back. And there was a woman who convinced a group of people to drink poison, and when they died, then a UFO would pick them all up, and they all drank that poison and they died. That's not a testament to the actual UFO being real. You see what I'm saying? So you just got to keep that stuff in mind. This is a real fact. People drank this poison and thought that they was gonna go to heaven, and it didn't happen for them. So, and let me read this comment, Josh. He said, "What would you like? What would you sound like a 911 truly to them, weighing in on the matter 2,000 years about what really happened?" I'm going to leave it at there. So, what you're saying is, okay, if you go 2,000 years from now and try to tell people that a 9/11 happened, and then it's 2,000 years later, it would be about the same. Okay, 9/11 is about a truth that we don't even know is truth. It's first, we don't know if it was government done. We don't know if it was done by real terrorists, none of that. So now, if you're talking about knocking the buildings down, that's irrelevant to your point because you're talking about a man died, rose again from the dead, okay, and is coming back when they're to rescue people. A building can be knocked down. That's possible. So if you're trying to tell somebody, hey, at one point these people attacked the country and knocked a building down, and then they went to war over it, that's not hard to believe. You're saying that Jesus was born of a virgin, okay? Okay, at 12 years old was preaching in temples. At 30 years old got baptized, okay? Walked on water during his time, healed a man, all these things. And this is true because it happened 2,000 years ago, and people believed in it so strongly that they gave their life for it. And this is why it's true. That's totally different. It's impossible, impossible, impossible. Believe it because people also believed in it and was willing to die for it. It's possible, believe in it, and it wouldn't kill you or send you to a hell for not. No one needs to believe in 9/11. Please understand, there's still places on this earth that don't even know about 9/11. It's not even important to them. That building falling is important to us. The lives that was lost in that building is important to us. But please understand, there are people all over the planet that have no clue about this. So if you were to tell them about 9/11, they wouldn't have a reason to not believe in it, as they do know that buildings can fall. I mean, if they seen an airplane before, they would know that this thing is possible. What you're referring to is a bunch of impossibilities, and then saying that it's possible because people believed in it. It doesn't work that way. Mhm. And Jamal, if we can't seem to come to a conclusion, at least on what you're trying to say or whatever, then we can definitely do it next week. But I don't want to try to give you all the time as there are other people who ask asking questions. I really want to try to answer your questions and stuff like that, but I want to be respectful of the other people as well. Um, It's just adding to it. I'm coming back next week with a headset on. I'm confusing everybody. Yeah, I feel you. All right, so let's see here. And again, just to speak more to that, guys, like when you talk again for Jamal's room, if you look up, there was a point in time where there was a people called the Snake people who were worshiping spirituality or were practicing by way of spirituality the way that we would say Egyptians were practicing back then. They were wearing like snake head dressings and all of this stuff. And of course, Rome is wanting to push Christianity. So Rome actually called in for a man named Patrick, or Saint, who we call Saint Patrick, or whatever, to annihilate these people. Who was a war strategist who strategized a war to essentially wipe these people out and run them out. That he's attributed for chasing out the snake people, and they were called snake people again because they wore serpents on their head. And the serpent does not mean the evil serpent that spoke to Eve. It means Kundalini energy, the wisdom of the pineal gland. The literature in Genesis was actually stolen from this. The snake gives you knowledge. It goes up your body, serpentine, and brings you knowledge. And this is what the Bible serpent did for Eve. He presented her with knowledge, and she became conscious or awake or whatever. So again, if Jesus is real, you have to ask yourself, why is the Bible plagiarized? So I think you're jumping ahead and saying Jesus must be real, forgetting that Jesus is a plagiarized character and he's a motif of the Son. And you're saying that because someone believed in him and that he was a real person, that their belief in him and the fact that they were tortured must be a testament to this person actually existing. But we know that's not true, right? So we know this is not true. So in fact, let's just say you take a child who believes strongly in the boogeyman, and they happen to, die of some disease or get in a car accident and they die. Does that mean that the boogeyman is true because that's something that a dead person believed in? No, it doesn't. It means that they believed in it. That's all belief is. Proof of is belief, but belief is not any testament to a fact. So let me just say that clearly. So even if you talk about when you're talking about trusting Nero or having respect for Nero and what he died for, you have to consider the fact that the fallacy that you're committing when you're talking about rational thinking or critical thinking is that, number one, a person's belief in what they died believing in is not evidence to it being true, because other people have died believing in other stuff because they believed in other stuff. So if that's true, every person who died by way of what they believed in terms of torture, then their God would have to be true. And that's the situation that you come into. That's where you are. You have to just if you undo that little anomaly that someone believing in something is not proof of the existence of it, you wouldn't even talk about Nero. All right, so let's see here. I mean, to be honest, Jesus was beaten, right? In the literature, Jesus was beaten and tortured for what he believed in, and he thought God forsook him. So if Jesus died tortured, believing that God forsook him, then didn't God really forsake him? If we're going to do that, so just keep that in mind. Why would Jesus, God himself, need to be baptized? That is an absolutely good question. In fact, John the Baptist is who baptized him, of course. And when he came up, the Bible says a dove descended on him, or the Holy Spirit descended on Jesus like a dove and all this kind of stuff. And so it's kind of like Jesus' powers didn't even awaken until he went under some water, which is, what is baptism? It's dipping your head in some water. Like, what is baptism, period? And by way of doing, why would anybody need to be dipped in water? Right? You can go swimming, you can get in a shower, but if a priest do it, it's something special, huh? It's symbolic. It doesn't mean anything. What's your thoughts on speaking in tongues? In terms of speaking in tongues, having to do with a literary God, because Christians speak in tongues, I don't think there's any evidence of that, because there are tribes of people all over the planet who speak in tongues or speak in foreign languages, actually even when they get excited. So this is not a testament to someone speaking in tongues, because this happens by other belief systems. And tongues is a thing that can be taught as well. I had my church family trying to teach me to speak in tongues, talking about some just move your mouth and words that eventually come out. I was like, man, no, I'm not doing it. So, see, why would you do that? Like, why would I need to do that? That's faith. No, that's talking. That's what that is. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mackie. Hmm. True. I agree. Babbling. That's why they call it the Tower of Babel. This is the you are the tower. This is where you babble from. Tower of Babel, because God made them speak in language and they didn't understand. You are the Babel. You are the person that's walking around and don't know what you're talking about. That's what Tower of Babel means. All right, so let's see here. Kevin, hello, peace and love. I wanted to ask you, if you ever heard this pastor called Geno Jennings? I'm with you all the way, but this pastor is something else. I've actually never heard of him. I'll look into him though. Hmm. From the way she typed it, she's saying he's really good. That's what I'm assuming about the way she typed it. Baptism is a near-death experience. It's a near-life experience as well. This is why baptism and stuff is used as something that's like symbolism. When you come into this world, you come via water, right? The water breaks, therefore you come. You're being born again. This is why you get baptized. It's all symbolic to the water breaking and you being born, right? When you're a Christian, you get born again. All these things, So uh, it's all about, again, when you talk about religion, guys, it's to keep you. And this is what I'm going to say. This is my final thought. So thank you very much, Frank of mine. See here. Thank you for all you have done for us, Kevin. We got your back. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So far, like the Bible says, you love me because I first loved you. I think you guys understand that I first had y'all back when I put myself in harm's way to tell y'all the truth. Um, my man who was asking me about Nero, if I was to die, if someone was to torture me and try to make me say that Jesus existed, and I wasn't willing to do it, and they killed me, would that mean that Jesus didn't exist? Simple yes or no question. I don't want you to put a whole bunch behind it. Just simple yes or no. If someone tortured me right now to force me to believe in Jesus, and I refuse to, would that mean Jesus didn't exist? If your answer is no, you have to let the Nero stuff go. What's your opinion on prophets and seeing the future? Now that's a different way to word it than saying what's your opinion on prophets in the Bible? What's my opinion on prophets and seeing the future? I believe that every one of us has spoken prophetically. What would you say if I told you that, Josh? Sometimes you would be like, man, you'll warn your friend, man, that's not wise. Don't do that, right? I'm telling you, bro. If you do this, something going. You can just see it play out. You can see it, bro, right? You literally saw into the future. You saw that this was not going to end good for that person. And you told them what was going to happen. And freaking it happened. And you end up in you saying, look, man, I ain't trying to be funny, but I told you so. But if you would have told him that in church, it would have been a prophecy. Right? Man, we prophesy to each other all the time. It's simply seeing a road that somebody's going down and knowing you've been down that road and then telling them what you see happening or seeing somebody that they trust and you can just tell, like your parents do it. They'll be like, I don't trust that child. Don't hang up. Trust me, I know them. They can see something in that child that you can't. That's prophecy. You can see further than someone else. It literally is what it is. It's not literally, you got to have magic sprinkled on you to be able to prophesy. So tell me if that makes sense to you. Hopefully it does. Absolutely. It's that. Mhm. It's that if you joke in a classroom, you're a clown. If you joke on stage, you're a comedian. It's the setting. It's all about the setting. Right? Yeah. Oh, okay. He speaks harshly on women. Okay, I'll definitely look him up, man. So now, okay, if that, I did see that clip. Is that guy? Oh, oh. Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I think that may let us know if that's who you're talking about, love. Let's see here. Somebody said something here that got my attention. It says, "Did you know 2 Kings chapter 19 and Isaiah 37 are exactly the same?" Now, I want you guys to understand something. Joey B is not telling you that 2 Kings chapter 19 and one scripture is the exact match of Isaiah 37 and one scripture is the same. What he's telling you is the entire chapter of 2 Kings chapter 19 is the exact same as Isaiah 37. That they put the same chapter in the book twice in two different places. And this is what I mean by it's filled up with problems. Why would you put the same, like God said, okay, re-say all that again because word for word, it's the same. The whole chapter, it's like word for word. I remember, man, guys, that's a funny story because myself and Ray Hagan's, man, we're sitting there at this place and we're talking about these two books in the Bible, how they are the same. And we just were literally just sitting at the table laughing, like just laughing about it. I'm holding in my phone. He's holding his phone. He's reading it, and I'm following it along with him. Like, God, dog, you dang right. So yeah, that's great. He the one enlightened me on that. Even though I had read the Bible, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that. So that's why it's good to have conversations with people who've been there a little longer, man. So somebody said, why would God sacrifice himself to get something done when he simply spoke to the universe into existence? Could he not have saved himself 33 years and refurbished our sins? I mean, here's the thing, man. This is the word semantics. When you start to ask the question why, this is where you get Christians. This is where they cannot handle it. Okay, God so much loved the world that he gave his son. So it sounds beautiful. He loved the world so much he gave up his only son. Now, I want you to know something. This is like this. This is me coming to Josh, okay? And Josh, I'm about to die, right? Somebody after me, bro. Like if you don't help me, they're gonna kill me, right? So Josh is gonna go to these people and try to, I guess, redeem me or save me. So he says, listen, guys, I'll give you my child. Y'all can kill him in order to save Kevin. That's love. That's stupid. Like you're talking, and now add the fact to Josh that he's all powerful, completely capable of wiping these men out, completely capable of defending me and not even hurting them. He can snap his fingers, and all of a sudden these guys won't even be hunting me no more. He don't even have to hurt them. Put a thought. He ain't got to do nothing. His thoughts tremble at his power, right? So just imagine this: a God who can do anything. I'm gonna kill. I didn't give my son. I created one just so I could give him to you. And this is supposed to be love. But why would somebody have to die? Because just so you can forgive somebody. Like you're the person who we asking for forgiveness. So why does someone else have to die for you to forgive us? You, God, you can do anything, which means that you can forgive us without the death of your son. Yet your son has to die. It's semantics. It's a story. It's a motif. It's all it is. If you try to understand it, you will understand it cannot be understood. This is why they tell you that your ways ain't like God's ways, which is supposed to make him seem superior to you. But that's ridiculous because the tooth fairy's ways ain't my ways. I have never in my life thought when you lose your tooth, let me get it. I'll pay you for it. I've never thought that. I've never in my life thought that was cool. But apparently the tooth fairy loves that, loves doing stuff with people's teeth, right? And as a child, you don't even question the tooth fairy. You just like the fact they're giving you money. What do you want with my teeth, though? Like, what are you doing with my teeth? You take that from a child, and then you go to Santa Claus. Why do you bring everybody presents? What purpose is it of yours to have all these people working for you just for the end of the year so you can bring them presents? I don't get it, right? Why that time of the year, not another time? So these are questions you don't ask yourself. You just believe it because it's taught to you. You do the same thing with religion, man. You never ask God why he do what he do. And you settle for the simple fact that he's out there and he doesn't think like you. None of these motifs think like you. Yeah, I've never seen a grown man say, "I'm gonna make a bunch of toys and take them to kids if they be good, and if they ain't, I ain't gonna give them jack." Like nobody ever said that. I've never seen a human being, like a real person, say that. Like I said, be concerned about somebody's teeth. These are things that we grew up with, thinking it was cool, and then we believed in Jesus too, and then now it's time to relook at that stuff. So, yeah, he caused it, LaShawn. He caused it. He created the very people who caused the problem. Like he created Adam and Eve. You cannot judge. Like, listen, guys. Somebody did a whole video trying to say that I'm misleading the people because I said, why would a God who created you imperfect get mad at you when you display your imperfectness, as if he didn't know you were imperfect? So the guy goes and says, well, number one, you messed up because God didn't make you imperfect. So I don't even want to hear the rest of the video because until you correct the fact that God actually made man perfect and not imperfect. See, man made himself imperfect, Kevin. So you need to go back and recounter what you said because you misleading people. That's what he said. Like, time out, bro. You're saying man was perfect because a book told you to say it. Facts. If I make a car, if I create an automobile right now, and I say it's because he says when God made man, he said it was good. So therefore, wasn't nothing wrong with man. So if I create a car and I say this car is good, it's perfect in all its ways, and that car is sold to someone, right? And that car malfunctions and just shuts down. Am I going to say, well, it was perfect when you bought it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was perfect when you bought it, so if it mess up, that means that it's the car's fault. It's your fault, because it was definitely perfect. We would call any person who manufactured products evil if they did that crap. If they sold us stuff and said, and when it messed up, say, well, it was perfect when I made it. It worked when it was here, so therefore it must always, therefore, work. God creating man and saying, before he's ever in the garden to eat any fruit, he just created man and said it's good. That is not a testament that is good. It has to be tried first. Even a swordsmith knows to try your weapon out before you go out swinging it. Think about it, guys. You're not just going to, somebody hand you a weapon and you ain't never used that weapon. You ain't going to be no more comfortable with that weapon than you was without it. Somebody hand you a big old gun. You don't even know how to pull the trigger, and they just hand you the bullets. You don't even know how to load it. You know nothing about this gun. You unarmed. You still unarmed, right? So it's the same way. I mean, you know, you got to think about it, man. The weapon has got to be tried. It has to be tried. You can take a shotgun or any type of gun that a person who's trained can use and shoot. Now, you can take that same gun and put it in a person's hand who has not tried that weapon, and it's going to bam, knock their shoulder out of place because they don't know how to hold it. You have to learn. God said, this Bible's God says that man was perfect, and then he sinned, so man is now responsible for his own sin. If man was perfect, he would have never sinned. Don't you see the point? Yeah, if something's perfect, it doesn't mess up. You can't say when it messed up that it was once perfect. That's stupid. It doesn't work that way. You know? It's crazy, man. But I mean, again, he did a whole video, and I mean, you could read his comments. Everybody telling him that he's wrong. Like, dude, you the one that's wrong here. but he looks serious. He definitely is convinced that I made a mistake by saying that God created you imperfect. Whether or not he created you perfect or imperfect, the problem lies on the person who created you, not the creation. So that's where that stands. You open up the minds of the people, and I appreciate you. But family ain't ready for you. I mean, a lot of people who's victim to these beliefs ain't ready to hear the truth, man. One thing I want to do, I want to put this out there, guys. If you guys believe or would like for our show to be done earlier in the day, please let us know with comments, not right now, but just in the future. In the next few weeks, I will be talking to Josh about this. A lot of people, Josh, they say that I love your show, but I always get sleepy at the end because we do go on late. Initially, Josh and I decided to do this because it was football season, and we were just thinking that, you know, let's plan it at a time to where most people can actually watch it or whatever. And so, but I mean, if you guys do want it to be a little bit earlier, let me know, because I would even do it in the morning, just like church. I mean, we can get it out of the way first off, guys. So I've gotten used to being here at night, but I don't have to do it at this time. Honestly, man, sometimes Sundays I have things to do, and I have to make my whole day around this time right here. So Like I said, guys, if you guys would rather do it in the morning or midday or something like that, let me know, man. I'm here for you guys. If y'all gonna come and watch it, I'll do it because I don't. I feel that like the views, Josh, drop off at the end because they sleep. Frankly, they sleepy, and so that's true. So if we could do it a little early, I think that'd be cool. Y'all want some Sunday morning church type stuff? Y'all want to do it then, just like y'all used to going to church in the morning, or y'all think y'all brain's gonna be ready when y'all first wake up? If y'all will, we can get it on. I don't care. We can do it at 12 every Sunday. I don't care. I just want you guys, because honestly, when I do my events, it's in the afternoon, like the Sunday of the 28th. If anybody's on that wasn't on earlier, the 28th, it's not a Sunday, it's a Friday, never mind. But the 28th, we're doing an event in Charlotte. So please go to the Eventbrite. Just if you don't mind throwing the Eventbrite back in the link again, make sure you guys are interested. This show is for you guys, okay? It's for you guys. You guys want to get together and meet other like-minded people. Some of you guys are single and you're looking for somebody who thinks like you because you're considering a relationship with someone who thinks like you. If that's what you're considering doing and you want to meet people, if you're in the Charlotte area, man, make your way out that night. We're going to have fun, all right? So just make sure y'all do that. But anyway, what I was saying is sometimes I do engagements at night. And if it's on a Sunday, I don't do my show that Sunday. So if you guys want to start going in the morning, we definitely can. And I can pretty much always do my show. I like that. Dirty Water said, if you're live, I'm there no matter what. I really appreciate that. And I see you got a lot of you guys try to make it every single time. But if I can make it earlier, man, just let me know. So that's all I'm saying. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, Swaggy said 6 already, but yeah. Let me know, guys. If y'all want to do it in the morning, midday, whatever, we can. I want to make it where you guys cannot be inconvenienced to come and watch the show and not be staying up, trying to keep your eyes open and missing the show. Because I hear that from a lot of people, like, man, I'd be trying and I'd be getting sleepy. So too many people have said it, and I'd be crazy if I didn't consider it, guys. So I'm not somebody who like my show is when I want it to be, and if they want to see it, they gonna have to come whenever I'm coming. See, like LaShawn said, 12 is perfect. So I said 6 is. So just let us know, guys. I mean, me and Josh always up at either one of those times, so it won't be a problem to us, guys. So yeah. By 12, you up and going though, right? Me either. No, earlier than 12. Let's do 12. Yeah, at the earliest. So let's see here. Well, guys, I tell you what, I'll answer two more questions, and from there we'll wrap it up, guys. And again, we'll let you guys know on this post. So all you gotta do is just come back and look at this post, and you will see the winner of the shirt, and then you can let me know what size to put in. So Josh, what we'll do is we'll close the video after this is done, and then you can leave the chat. If you can you leave the chat going? Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll leave the chat going for a few minutes while we do our little raffle, and then we'll let whoever knows want it, and then they can respond to us and what size, and we'll get that shirt to you ASAP after we get off. So I'm just letting them know that just hang tight, guys. If you donated and you want to know if you want a shirt, things like that, just make sure that you hang tight, and we will let you know after that. And if anybody else wants to register to enter this competition for this shirt right here, each one counts. So that's several donations for him. So we definitely have to count that up. And actually, multiples of 10, we'll do that because somebody donated $50 too. We want to try to make it fair. This is the first time, so give me a break. I'm trying my best. So, but one of the donators will definitely win the shirt tonight. We don't care if the donation was less than what the shirt costs or more. This is simply going to be random. So I don't want people to say, "Well, I donated more times, and I didn't win." Not about that. It's simply just random. But if you did donate more than once, we will definitely put that in a couple of times. So that's definitely fair. Well, I don't know. We'll put this time one name in each because even with the multiple donations, it doesn't equal the one guy who did 50. So one every name gets one donation. We'll put it like that. One name in the hat. Okay, so that's how we'll make it. Yes, that's the fairest way. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. Where's Josh? When will the next open Skype call be? Dirty Water. We're gonna do it next week. So absolutely. So we'll be here. Josh never likes talk. All the talking that you guys saw from Josh was me saying, Josh, come on, talk. Josh likes to mediate. He likes to do things in the background. He speaks only when he feels it's necessary. Somebody says Josh only speaks when it's time to shut down shop. He definitely will speak up when it's time to shut down shop. Absolutely. Hey, Josh gets sleepy too, guys. You can't expect Josh to just be on the other end, just holding it down the whole night. Let's see here. I want to read a couple more questions, guys. So if you have a couple more questions, give me two more questions. I'll answer them, then we'll log off, and then we'll call it a night, and then we'll let you know about that winner. How do we get in Skype? Right now, the Skype isn't working correctly, but we're going to get that fixed. Hi, Nikki. So we'll let you know next week exactly how to call in and everything. Hi, Nikki is great, too. She's actually one of the people who, guys, if you do not know this, my Patreon, I actually do one-on-one calls and consultations with people who have questions for me. So I normally start it off with at least a $15 donation, and I will give you at least 30 minutes because it's a lot of people in a day who I talk with. And she is one of those people. She has an amazing story, and I actually want to bring you on my show if you don't mind telling some of your story that you share with me. It really touched my heart. Her story is Josh, like some of the stuff that people type that we talking about reading. Or she'll blow your mind with some of the stuff she went through as a Christian. Like our last conversation was crazy. So yeah, most definitely. Mhm. Yeah, her story will blow your mind, bro. Like woo, it's deep. It really is. We should be talking again like later this week. But for a lot of you guys who may say, Kevin, man, I mean, I wanna get on the to Patreon or whatever. But if I'm donating per month, $2, $3, $5, then how can I get a conversation with you anytime? Understand there's only enough time in a day, and there's so many people who need that time. So what I try to do is I try to give my time to the people who are willing to compensate me for that time. I'm not unlimited here. I'm one person, and I can only be in one place. I have a family to feed, so I really can't afford to give you guys all of my time for free. I really cannot. I mean, I shouldn't even be giving away the stuff free that I do now. I mean, I can't afford to. But I do, and I depend on y'all to give, and I really want to get out of that. Like, trust me, it's hard depending on people. I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable for me to sit down in front of this thing and hope y'all give every week. Please understand, no man should have to live like that, but I do it. So believe me, if you guys can contribute to me helping y'all, please understand it works two ways, man. I'm here for y'all, but y'all can be here for me too. Okay, so just keep that in mind. What's that? Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna try. We're gonna try to reiterate that. Hey, here's the thing, man. Somebody once said if one person doesn't understand it, then we have to assume that a lot of other people don't. So that being said, let me just say I appreciate the question because somebody else could be on and they didn't hear it earlier, and that's a good question if it's asked twice. How should we make steps towards unifying the planet? What I stated earlier was that it starts within. It starts with you. If you are changed, the world would be changed now. Once you do change, of course, the goal is to unify, or the goal is to give that information to someone else. Once you have been lit, you want to light somebody else up. But again, action is how you unify the planet. We can't just be people with a bunch of information. That's not going to do it. There's always been a bunch of people with a bunch of information. Utilizing the tools that you have, what you've learned, that's what's going to bring unity to our planet. And then dropping the constructs that we have been given, like racism, religion, all these type of things that make us judge each other without knowing each other. These are things that we can do, and then when we do that, the world would be unified. If you can destroy those right there, like those walls, how can you not have unity? And I think it starts with you first. If you can break through those barriers and learn to see the world with love, no matter what color a person is. I'm talking about see a black person dating a white person and it literally not bother you because what does it have to do with you anyway? Like nothing. To see a gay person with a gay person and it not bother you because literally what does them having sex with each other have to do with you? When you can bring yourself to those points to where you be like, it has nothing to do with me personally, that means it's not counterproductive to unifying. We can love each other in spite of what they like and who they are, what they look like, what their name is, what color they associate themselves with being, or whatever. So if we can do that, then I believe we can bring the world together. Let me see here. See here.
Josh be eating and smacking in the background. That's Coach. That was Coach's popcorn microphone.
Mm-hmm. LeSean says, why do people claim they're spiritual but still live by that Bible? Again, I was saying that earlier, man. People will say, I ain't religious, I'm spiritual. What they mean is, I don't have a lot of rules. Like I don't believe in stoning women. Like I ain't religious because religious people, they stand outside with picket signs and all this kind of stuff. So I'm spiritual. I just go with the flow. No, you're religious. You believe in the literature that was presented to you. Religion is not carrying out the same thing every day. That's called tradition. Religare is the word that religion comes from, which means to bind or tie up. So if you have religion, if you do believe in literature, then you are not spiritual. You definitely still religious. So that's my point to that. Kevin, are you coming to New York? Of course. Of course I'm coming to New York. The way we do this, man, is I try to tell you guys where I want to go, where I plan to go, and I hope the Eventbrite pays for the ticket for my cost to come out. I'm not rich. I can't pay for myself to come out, right? So when I say, hey, I'm coming to New York, I'm depending on the people in that area to go to the Eventbrite and purchase enough tickets to get me there so I can do what I need to do. People say, Kevin, why you charge? How am I get there? It's just kind of like, it's just crazy to me. Like, Kevin, how you charge? How am I get the venue? I mean, come on, we got to do this. The money for y'all tickets is what get the venue, and then we go there and we have fun. the money for y'all tickets is what flies me to your area for me to be able to teach y'all certain things and for us to do this. So just keep that in mind. When I do put these things out, I need you guys to run as fast as you can to these things and start buying tickets for me so I can actually make it happen. If you guys don't buy tickets for this event coming up by next week, by Wednesday of next week, I'm canceling it. Because if I don't, I got to give this dude a deposit for this building, and me and Lorenzo are not going to give this guy a deposit for a building that ain't nobody going to come to. We need to know y'all interested. So if you see us saying, okay, we're not going to do that event, you can't be mad if you hadn't bought a ticket and told me you were interested, because I have to go based on how it looks. I have 3 kids, and I can't tell my children, hey, man, this month going to be a rough month because I put all my money into this and nobody showed up. So please understand that. And LeSean, that's a good question. Why can't Kevin get compensated for info? I believe the reason is because we find something wrong with that. Honestly, I think that you don't have a problem with paying a teacher because you don't pay the teacher personally. You pay the institution. You don't have a problem with your pastor because you don't pay your pastor personally. You pay Jesus. So for you to go in and pay somebody, if I'm sitting here and I'm teaching and people are donating or anything like that, that's looked at as manipulation. Like, you got these people giving you money the same way as they giving these church people money. Like, I'm not telling people they're going to hell. The information I'm giving to you is helping you. You can go back behind me and find that it's factual. But the main thing is, imagine your life without me. Imagine your life without these people giving you information so you can have truth. Imagine if you literally had to go get all this information up for yourself. For yourself. Imagine how hard that would be. It wouldn't be very easy, I promise
We had people mad that we were selling T-shirts, bro.
you.
Like, people are mad like we sell like actual T-shirts. It's like, you out here selling T-shirts, bro? How you am I supposed to believe the Bible ain't true if you selling T-shirts? What? What? What is that? I don't
Facts.
understand. What is
Look,
going on?
Bobby over here, Kevin, where's your water? Laugh out loud. It's weird watching you talk without taking that water today. I've been sipping it. I'm trying to do it better, man. I watched one of my podcasts, and I swear I was squeezing the bottle like. I almost squeezed that water right down my throat and started choking. Well, I quit trying to stop playing. But I was like, man, I got to stop that. So I'm trying to take it easy and sip now. Um, Only slaves work for free. I mean, let me tell you something, guys. I was watching Polite, and he was just talking about how Marcus Garvey gave his life for people. Harriet Tubman, okay, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, if you like Martin Luther King. A lot of these people gave their lives for you, for your freedom, for your rights, and they died broke, right? They died with nothing. And he was just saying, so many times as teachers, we trick ourselves into believing that we have to suffer. Because if we are living good lives, it's like you're doing people wrong or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that I want to, have the things that Polite has or drive the things that he drives. That's his success. Mine will be of my own. But the man has a point. We shouldn't have to suffer just so y'all can understand us. Like, just so y'all can listen to me. I shouldn't be suffering, right? So when he said that, it resonated with me. And I'm like, he's right. All these people who died and gave their lives trying to better our world, they died with nothing, leaving nothing to their kids after everything they gave, and they're left with what? Honor? But what is honor? What is honor? Like, what is you for never forgetting who I am going to do for me in my life right now when I'm suffering? I think we should definitely love the people. And when I say love, I don't mean that by way of a word. I mean love by way of action. You should definitely show the people that you support what they're doing by giving them what they do. It's a simple fact. We should, man. So I agree 100%. I put out a GoFundMe almost a year and a half ago, of $100,000, just so people could donate to what I was doing, so I could keep going. I would go to that GoFundMe. If I needed to pay a bill, needed to pay rent, something like that, the people would have taken care of me. That thing didn't raise up no money, But again, I understand where people are. I understand where I was at that time, and I get that people could have very well said, well, you left the church and you were scamming people, so how do I know you're not going to do it now? But they don't know that I never took a tithe as a preacher. They don't know that, so they're coming from their understanding. And Anubis, even what you're saying right there, I get that there are many things about certain teachers or things about certain teachers that you may disagree with or may assume. But again, I was just speaking to something that the brother said that resonated with me. That's what I mean by eat the meat and spit out the bones. Like, I don't really have nothing negative to say about people because I know people are not perfect. I don't expect them to be. So it's not a shock to me when I hear that they've done something that isn't something that you would look up to, that they've said something that is not honorable. It doesn't bother me because I don't look at them as a preacher or a bishop or something. I think that we forget that we're dealing with human beings who literally just give you information. I don't understand why y'all expecting these people to be perfect. These human beings who giving you information, they can still be bad with money. Doesn't make them a scam artist because they bad with money. They can still do other things that you would say they shouldn't do. They criticized Dr. Umar for sleeping with a woman who danced or whatever. So he's supposed to be a bad guy for being a heterosexual male who liked a woman. Now, whatever happened with that situation, I don't know, but that's not something I really get into. Like, I saw a picture of a woman pushing a baby carriage past a burning building, and it said, "This is me minding my business." That's literally how I felt when you look around and you see all these videos going up of all these people just coming, dropping the hammer on each other, and putting out as much information as they can on each other. And people come to my page and be like, "What you think about that situation?" I'm pushing my baby cart by this burning building. It's not my business. my business is you guys. My business is to bring you guys information, to help you guys along on your journey. And hopefully you guys can help me along on my journey. A lot of you say, "Kevin, I couldn't have done it without you." A lot of you, I couldn't have done it without. Like, you guys came right in the nick of time because my life was in shambles. And a lot of you, your donations, some of the messages and the encouraging things you said to me has helped me push on. Y'all my concern, and I'm y'all's. So at the end of the day, like, do I care? Do I care about what they're doing? If they manipulate people or using people or hurting people? Yes. But I prefer to teach you, because if I teach you, people like that won't be a factor. If there is someone out there who's manipulating people, I don't have to talk to them. I can show you how to recognize when you're being manipulated, and my job is done. We don't have to go at each other's necks, and I won't let y'all make me be a part of that. I think y'all have seen so far that Kevin don't get into that, and I never will. Like, you can mark my words. So this is, like Josh said, a lot of people's channels are huge because they like entertainment. They like controversy. My channel won't get huge for the latter. It absolutely will not get huge for the latter because I don't do controversy. That's not something I do. I don't do that. I would never do that. So please understand, if we're going to grow, it's going to be because y'all believe it needs to grow. I'm not doing any gimmicks to do anything for a YouTube page. Like, it's an app. Facebook is an app. I use these tools to help y'all. It is not important to me whether I have 2 million followers. It just isn't. Like, my mind doesn't work like that. I never cared about being famous. I never cared about Facebook before that viral video. All I'm doing now is trying to make the best of a horrible situation. My mindset was already to help people who was victims of religion. I didn't know I was going to have to do it for an income. I didn't know I was going to get fired. And taking no thought to create a way to make an income. But now I have to try to make an income because of what happened. And I don't want to work for someone else because of what happened. But I refuse to, sell my soul, so to speak, just to get y'all to come listen. I'm not going to do that. Even if it's two people watching, like Josh was saying earlier.
They said just take the message and forgot about the messenger. Same
That's
thing.
what I'm saying. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. You do not need to view the messenger. Let me just say this right here, just to end this right here. We're going to end after this, Josh. Here's what happens when you don't look at the messenger. Okay? Here's what happens when you focus on the messenger. You become a sheep. I don't care what they teach. I don't care if they're teaching you about Jesus, Ma'at, or any of that. If you are focusing on the messenger, following them everywhere they're going, you are a sheep. Please understand, you cannot be just following people blindly. You better look at what people are saying and find yourself, and don't just let them put their brain in your head. You have to understand this, man. The sheer reason that you were once called a sheep.
He's talking more so about like people who don't support you. I'm pretty sure. I'm like
Oh, no,
90%.
sure, but I just want to say this because I'm high. I got to get this out. So for people who were once called a sheep, right? It should number one bother you because you were once called a sheep. I want you to consider something. The Bible talks about God by way of being a fisherman. I talked about this some last week, but let me show you something else. A fisherman comes down, or a fisherman catches fish. The bad fish he does away with. The good fish are saved for the kingdom, right? But the bad fish are thrown away, right, or burned. Now, the good fish are saved for the kingdom. But what happens to good fish? Don't they too get burned? Okay, a preacher is called a shepherd. You are called the sheep. What's the relationship between a sheep and a shepherd? Now watch this. A shepherd tends sheep, right? Is it because he loves them and just thinks that sheep are the greatest creatures in the world and he just has a whole sheep sanctuary? No. He sells the wool off the sheep and he sells the sheep as meat whenever it's time to kill that sheep, to slaughter that sheep. So his job is to protect the sheep so he can kill them and sell them. That's the goal of a shepherd. So if you are a sheep and your pastor is a shepherd, he's living off you. Do you not understand my point? He's using you and he plucks from you whenever he's ready for you. Every single Sunday he says it's time to give again or you're going to be cursed. Because you his sheep. You are his resource. Like a sheep is a shepherd's resource. It's benefiting him. If you are a shepherd, it is benefiting you to be a shepherd because you selling those sheep. You don't love those sheep. I break a sheep's leg because it ran away because I love it? No. I realize the sheep is worth more to me with a broken leg than not a sheep at all, right? I can break the sheep's leg and use it it's still cut it up and use it as meat. Nobody cares if the lamb's leg's broken. It's still got meat. I can still use its wool. Nobody says, well, this wool don't feel the same. It feels like it's from the lamb with a broken leg. No, it doesn't work that way. So just please understand the parallels that you have with here. I'm a sheep. He's a shepherd. Okay, this means that, okay, here's my point. Okay, actually, you know what? I made my point. I'm not even going to continue. Thank you very much, Southern Boss Lady. It says, keep the knowledge coming. Can't wait to see you in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. I can't wait to be there. Can't wait to see you too. So hopefully you guys show up and we can have a good time.
Alton, you super late, bro. I was figured Alton would have showed up earlier for the Q&A.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
He said he agrees that you should be compensated though, and that's usually Christians are use that point. It's like the pastor's getting paid, you getting paid. What's the difference? But I hate those. Those arguments are so weak to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you know something funny? They
What's that?
couldn't. They couldn't hear me on the mic.
Oh, yeah?
Most of the show. I figure.
Okay, that's why they said word, Josh.
Yeah. I guess I don't know the way the Skype transmits the data.
That's probably why Dirty Water didn't hear your question. She just heard me answer it.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you did read it or say it, like just to rephrase the question. I don't remember.
I may have.
Josh just woke up. No, I have been up and I've been talking, but
He just muted himself before he hit live, guys. So
yeah.
we didn't want like a whole bunch of noise in the background. So Josh, actually, he always does. If you guys can look back over the show, you'll hear me say, "Josh, are you still muted?" So I was talking to him. So But either which way, guys, we're gonna work our way to getting off. We've been going about 3 hours. This is a 2 hour show.
Yep.
Okay, so just keep in mind this right here is just one of the things, but we're working that out as well. Again, thank you guys. We're gonna call this our anniversary. Me and Josh discussed it today. We've been going a little longer than a year, but we're gonna call this our anniversary, and we're gonna celebrate it as such. And again, thank you guys for all the support and efforts and helping me continue. Believe me when I tell you, I could not have done it without you. I absolutely could not have. And one more, I'm gonna read this right here from Eden because she's just a doll. It says, anyone focusing on the messenger is seeking to escape responsibility from their personal thoughts and actions and by blaming the messenger. Victim is powerless, irresponsible, and immature. Wow. Wow. Absolutely. I would not disagree.
Love you,
Yeah.
Eden.
Yeah, love you, Eden. Keep up the good comments and things like that.
Oh no,
I'm
out and
sorry
left
if I
in your
missed any.
comment. You can end on that. End on your famous phrase. When somebody says, "I'll be praying for you," what you got to end on that phrase that you have.
Okay. Pray for me, and I'll think for you. Obviously, you don't think for yourself. All right, guys. So that's gonna be it. Just stay tuned. Stay on the live chat. On the what we calling this? The yeah, live chat. I guess, right?
Yeah, live, Skype,
Yeah.
whatever, or YouTube chat, I
Fantastic.
guess.
All right, so just hang on, guys. It shouldn't take no more than 3 to 5 minutes to rattle through these names and get a name drawn out. And we'll be back to let you guys know exactly who it was. If you donated, please stay tuned and let me know what size you wear in the comments, and we'll get that sent to you. If you let's see here, if you when you let me know
Why
what
don't we just
size
announce
you
it
wear,
next week? I mean, because they probably already dropped off, or we can put it on our page.
well, I guess so because I
A
wanted, I
lot of
definitely, I
people
just want to
donated
send it.
early, so and people have left, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was just in the eager to just to send it. So, but yeah, that's fine. Guys, if y'all okay with me sending it next week instead of tomorrow, just let me know real quick. Let me do a show of hands, Josh. The people who donated, if y'all okay with me and Josh actually looking through this and getting everything together and getting with you guys throughout the week and go from there. Because we would have to get your address and everything, and that's what I was about to try to figure out a way to get that from you.
I don't think it's a big rush. I mean, I don't know. It's up to you or them.
Gotcha. I mean, I actually would actually prefer to like get the names, put them in a hat, and draw it out. So yeah, it would take a little while.
Just to show it's not favoritism.
Okay, well, let's do that. That's cool. All right, so guys, if y'all want to register to win that shirt for next week, I'm gonna give you 2 more minutes before we close. It's 10:58. We're gonna absolutely close at 11. If you guys want to donate, a donation as small as $2, you will be entered to win that shirt. And again, every little bit helps, guys. So it's just a shirt, but this is more about me, more about the mission. Have them send it to your email. Yep, true, true, true.
Yeah,
And
we
it.
don't want all that public information.
Mm-hmm. Definitely don't want you to do that. I was going to say I have them like give their YouTube information or something like not YouTube, but like Facebook information. But it just be easy for them to send it to me at X Pastor Kevin Wesley. Thank you very much. That's
You still check that?
rarely. To be honest with you, I use Patreon more because that's where my patrons go.
Yeah.
Send it to nah, just send it to that one because I don't want to give my personal one and then just light it up anyway. I'll check the email. I'll make sure I check that email.
All right. I think we should sign off. It's like a minute
All right.
left until
All
three
right. Cool.
hours.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So, guys, just make sure you go and check out that event. If you know anybody in Charlotte, as a matter of fact, if you support what we're doing, go to that link and put it on your wall. Okay? Please put it on your wall. And tag me when you do, just so I can know that I can go see it on the wall. I just want to see people share this. Help me get this event out there. Facebook is really crazy. Thank you very much, Bobby. You be thinking quick on the fly, man. I commend you. I appreciate that, brother. Um, but yeah, if you guys don't mind, man, please help me out. Facebook be tripping. We put it up on our wall. It's like it goes nowhere. Like it's Facebook realizes you're trying to promote an event, and they're not gonna let you make money off their platform unless you give them money to do it. And you can sponsor an event, which I've done to try to get the information out there to you guys. But you guys can share it for me, of course. And then you got people who will see the information. So help me spread the word that we are bringing an event to Charlotte. So thank you very much, Shondell. I love y'all, man. Y'all really been showing up lately, man. I came back from my sister's death, and I didn't do a show for like 3 weeks. That really took a lot out of me. And that was one of the worst months, man, one of the worst months financially since I've been out of religion because I didn't do a YouTube video. I didn't do a YouTube podcast. So I missed like 3 weeks of y'all's donations, man. And I tell y'all that destroyed me. I really, Josh will tell you, I was hurting. I promise you. And we was like, man, we can't miss no more shows. So, but at the end of the day, that just means that I shouldn't be in a situation where if I can't do a podcast, that I'm gonna suffer the next month for it. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy with all the work that I do and give. So, or we do give, I should say. So just keep that in mind, guys. Thank you very much. The time is over. Remember this: be the change that you want to see. Be the evolution, and no candle loses light, or no candle loses its flame by lighting another. That's my three things I like to say before we get off now. So. Thank you very much, Daniel Water. That means a lot. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week, and we'll announce that winner of that show. And thank you guys for watching. And again, congratulations. It's our anniversary. Anniversary. All right, cool. I'm old school. All right. Peace, family. Love y'all.
All right, peace, y'all.